Good morning, DJ and PK. It's 97.5 The Zone. Welcome in on a Thursday morning. A couple of local teams playing last night, as expected. BYU basketball team rolling to a 91-60 win over Cal Baptist. It's not that Cal Baptist is necessarily a bad team. They're just hideously overmatched. They're actually picked. They might end up winning the WAC. We'll see how that plays out. But they're supposed to be pretty good in that league. They're off to a 7-1 start. They're moving to the Big West, actually, where they'll be in the same league with Utah Valley and by UC Santa Barbara Gauchos and a handful of other teams. But overmatched at the Delta Center as BYU rolls to that 91-60 win. As you would expect, A.J. DeBansa way better than everybody else on the court. So he scored 22 points to lead BYU. And going with him, another guy who also just, physically dominant in a game like this, Kebaketa, 22 points, 14 rebounds, and 3 block shots. And then Robert Wright III also with a strong performance, 15 points, 11 assists. BYU is up 16 at the half, and they win 91-60, so they improve to 7-1 on the season. Now, they have 5 days to get ready for Clemson coming up on the 9th. So that is, we'll see what kind of a test that is for the Cougars. At least it's back to a power conference team. It is hard early in this year watching all this football to follow these teams and know what's going on as far as, Clemson and who are they and how do they match up. They're off to a 7-2 start and have lost to Georgetown by 5 and Alabama by 6. But they do have a 3-point win over Georgia and a 3-point win over West Virginia. So they're testing themselves. They're playing multiple Power 5 teams early on. They gone 2-2. So we'll see how that works out. Things worked out for the Utah Mammoth last night after a brutal stretch, 4 straight losses, only 4 wins in the month of November, and they gave up 6 goals in the first 2 periods and lost in San Jose last time out. But, man, it was a different team in Anaheim. Talk about bringing the energy. 2 goals in the first, 2 in the second, 3 in the third, a 7-0 win for the Mammoth as they just pound Anaheim. For more, let's get to the best of the postgame show.
DJ and PK, the Utah Mammoth went into Anaheim on Wednesday night and beat the Pacific Division leading Ducks by a count of 7-0. A 27-save shutout for Karel Vejmelka as Utah, for the 4th time in team history, scores 7, so that ties the record. Margin of victory of 7 is the best in franchise history. So the Mammoth snapped that 4-game losing streak, and they're back in that wildcard spot in the Western Conference all of a sudden. And obviously leading this game from tape to tape, Lawson Krause, who put up 2 goals in a losing effort on Monday night in San Jose, got the scoring started for Utah. 5:59 into the first.
Carcone back of goal in front for Krause, backhander, and he scores! Michael Carcone puts it on a platter for Lawson Krause, who did the rest, pulling the string on Billy Husso, and it's 1-0.
Utah took that 1-0 lead and immediately took a penalty, but they killed it off, and Dylan Gunther quickly came back and made it 2-0 Utah.
Vacuumed in by Ian Cole and chipped to center. Gunther explodes through the middle. Gunther right in. Gunther dangles and scores! Oh, solo mio! Dylan Gunther.
That 2-0 lead was a pretty good sign. The Mammoth now 7-2 when they have a 2-0 lead in a game. They took that lead to the first intermission, and they made it 3-0 early in the second. Ian Cole, who had a franchise record +5 in the game, scores a goal here from Maverick Lamoureux, just called back up from the AHL, and J.J. Peterka picked up the secondary assist.
J.J. Peterka floats one back up top. Lamoureux to the veteran Cole. High wrist shot, and he scores! Ian Cole has 2 points here tonight.
So at 3-0, Anaheim looked like they got on the board, but Utah challenged it for offside. It was quickly overturned, and the Mammoth, 1 minute and 41 seconds after that, would get another goal from Peterka to make it 4-0.
3-on-2 for Keller and Schmaltz. Schmaltz this way, backdoor. Peterka scores! Tic-tac-toe!
Then on to the third for Liam O'Brien's 2nd goal of the season.
Puck comes in front, and that's a goal. Utah has scored. Liam O'Brien is going to get his 2nd of the year.
And it was such a great night, the Utah power play even got rolling. They went 1 for 2. J.J. Peterka made it 6-0.
Just turned over. Look out. This might be a 5-on-1 here for Utah. Gunther with Keller and Peterka. Gunther, backdoor. Peterka taps it in and scores. 6-0.
And then to close out the scoring in the third, the captain, Clayton Keller, put up the touchdown and the extra point for the Mammoth.
To Keller. Out wide. He shoots it. Tips in. And they score. Keller had the shot. And that makes it 7-0.
Well-rounded game for Utah. 11 different players got at least a point. 6 players had at least 2 points. J.J. Peterka, his best night with the Mammoth. 2 goals, 2 assists, 6 shots on goal for Utah. And again, a team effort. 15 of their 18 skaters were on the ice for at least one 5-on-5 goal. Vejmelka gets the shutout. It's the 4th time in the last 6 games that he's allowed 2 goals or less. He's been pretty good and pretty consistent for the Mammoth. Let's hear what they thought of the game. Let's start with head coach Andre Tourigny.
Obviously, it's nice to see you in those circumstances, everyone. No, seriously, everybody played good. It's you can talk about some guys who made points or Veg who has a shutout, but at the end of the day, the way we get above the puck all the time and we have number defensively all the time, it's a really good team on the other side. Really tough to play against the way the poise they have with the puck, but the fact we had numbers all the time and we're above them and we compete and we got opportunists offensively. So proud of the guys, the way they regrouped, the effort. I think the message was clear and I think well received. Now just doesn't mean anything anymore after midnight, so we'll need to focus. Vancouver played really good hockey lately, so we'll need to get ready for them.
When you see, all 4 lines having a goal at 5-on-5, the effort was there, obviously, but both sides. What can you say about just the continuity of all 4 lines?
Yeah, like I said, it's everybody. I cannot tell you one player where we're not proud of tonight. I have to talk about Banner's line, though, the way they play against their top line and their efficiency both sides of the puck and their intensity and their awareness, urgency, desire to do the job in those situations means a lot. And I think it sent the right message to the team and it kind of push everybody forward in the right direction.
Bear made some tweaks going into that game. He put J.J. Peterka with Nick Schmaltz and Clayton Keller, and we heard in the highlights the results that saw with all 3 gathering multiple point games. Utah called up Daniil Boot, the 20-year-old 6'5" forward from the AHL, where he led the Tucson Roadrunners in scoring. He went with Logan Cooley and Dylan Gunther. Liam O'Brien was put back in the lineup. Utah scratching Barrett Hayton and Brandon Tanev for the first time this season in the contest, and pushed all the right buttons and found a way to catch Anaheim. Again, we said Pacific Division leading Ducks, 3rd best record in the NHL at home. Utah lost in overtime to them just over 2 weeks ago, and they're the 2nd highest scoring team in the NHL, and the Mammoth have allowed 1 5-on-5 goal to them in 2 games. When Utah's locked down, they're pretty good, and it shows just how quickly things can change in the National Hockey League, from one night losing 6-3 to winning 7-0 the next night. It was a pretty complete effort. Not too much to nitpick about from the Mammoth after this one. We heard from Ian Cole after the game as well, the veteran who played with the 21-year-old Maverick Lamoureux. Again, mentioned the +5, 1 goal and 1 assist for Ian Cole.
What did you see out of Lamoureux tonight?
What I see out of Lammy? Yeah, he's a good hockey player. It's great to have him up, and we're very fortunate to have a lot of options on our back end of a lot of really good hockey players. So, I thought he did great tonight. I thought he handled, a highly skilled team well over there in Anaheim, and we're going to keep moving forward just as he is.
What's it like to see a teammate make their NHL debut and experience all the emotions of a dream come true?
In Cheeks?
Daniil Boot.
Yeah. He's a great kid. He's a fantastic kid. We're so thrilled for him, and to be honest, I thought he played great. He's big, he's fast, he's skilled. He knows what he's doing offensively, defensively, and he's a very responsible player for being, especially his first NHL game. So, I think the future is really, really bright for him.
Do you think this team can work with what you did tonight and make more of a push?
Well, we're going to have to. We're going to have to. Obviously, the way things have gone recently has been disappointing, to say the least. But we knew that this was a big game, and we were able to step up against a great team over there and do a good job. You know, like I was saying earlier, though, it's one game. We got, 60 games left, something like that. So, we got to be continue to be good here for quite a while.
And a big NHL debut for Daniil Boot. He was on the ice for the second Utah goal scored by Dylan Guenther, 12th overall pick in 2023. And a nice NHL debut. Not too many people win their NHL debut 7-0.
How did that one feel? Obviously, an NHL debut is something you don't forget.
Yeah, it feels pretty good. So we won. It's the most important.
What did you want to be able to contribute in that game tonight?
What is contributed?
Add to the group. What did you want to prove out there?
I want to add energy and maybe a couple shots. Yeah, that things.
How did the reality of making your debut compare to what you dreamed of your whole entire life?
Yeah, it feels like a dream. So I think I don't understand yet where I am, and I need to keep going.
What was it like to celebrate with the guys, celebrate your first game, get the big hat in the locker room?
Yeah, it means a lot for me. So thank you for my teammates. They made it for me. So yeah.
The NHL game, how did it compare to what you expected from the AHL game here in North America, the step up?
Yeah, the speed is faster. You need to make your decisions quickly. So yeah, that means.
Thanks, Daniel.
So the Mammoth will play Game 5 of the 6-game road trip on Friday night in Vancouver. We will have that game for you on the AM side on AM 1280, the KSL Sports Zone. Hockey Night in Utah starting at 6 with the Jazz and Knicks on 97.5. The puck will drop from Vancouver, BC at 7. Mammoth will be in Calgary on Saturday. That'll be a 5 p.m. face-off for you. Of course, Mammoth Daily will recap this game, unpack it even more. Mike's Morning After, we'll have Nick Olczyk and Matt McConnell stopping by. I'll give you more of my thoughts. Nick Olczyk will be our Thursday expert. We'll talk analytics with him. So a big Thursday on Mammoth Daily, wherever you get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, on the Utah Mammoth YouTube page, and on SCG Plus as well. Monday through Friday drops at 4:45 a.m. Another option for you to consume your Utah Mammoth. DJ and PK, have a great Thursday, and we will be back with you next week.
There is the best of the post-game show as the Mammoth win 7-0. We're going to take a break. When we come back, Kalani Sitake getting his team ready for the Big 12 championship game. Sellout crowd, tickets available on the secondary market, but it's expensive. It is very expensive. You can't get up in the nosebleeds. There's a lot of seats in the $200 range up there, and there's a few under $200. And then if you want to sit down in the lower tier there, you're over $1,000 easy. You might be over $1,500. So it's expensive. For BYU, can they punch their ticket, win the Big 12 title game to get the automatic berth in the college football playoff, and end all this talk about an at-large bid? Well, that's the charge, and now that Kalani has the job and the contract behind him, focus on that. Kalani with the media on the game next. Stay with us. Good morning, DJ and PK. It's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. BYU, Texas Tech, Saturday morning, 10 a.m., Jarrah World, the Cowboys Dome in Arlington. Kalani meeting with the media now that the contract stuff is behind him. Focus on the game. Here's Kalani with the media.
Really excited to announce our signing class for the class of 2026, and excited about the type of playmakers that we brought on to our program, and excited. I mean, a lot of them we knew about already, and so we are really fired up about the talent that's coming in and the fit that they are to our program. There's a good number of them that are going to be going on missions first, and then there's also a good number that are enrolling early and starting school next month. So I feel like we've got a lot of our needs taken care of here, and to provide depth on our team, but also some guys that can definitely compete for playing time right away. And so I think overall, I love the class. really proud of our coaches. Just want to thank them. It's a lot of hard work from our coaches, I know that, but also our recruiting department. They've done an amazing job, and I don't think they get enough credit for what they do. And everyone that's just been involved with BYU, helping everyone now south through this recruiting process, and it's been amazing seeing all these. We've recruited a lot of these guys since they're younger, and now seeing them in the last year, seems like time just flew by, and now they're here, and many of them are going to start school next month, and so looking forward to it. But really want to answer any questions that you guys have for us. But the other coaches will be able to answer a lot of the details. But I'm just really proud of the fact that we got a lot of guys from the state of Utah, our backyard, and then looking at the places that we were able to hit, different parts of the country. We were able to scour the earth and find the best players, and I'm really proud of the class that we have today. What questions do you guys have for me?
First up, we'll have Dana Green.
Hey, Kalani, Dana Green with ABC4. Probably the biggest name on this list, Ryder Lyons. A lot has been made about him. How does he fit in? You have a freshman quarterback now. I know he's going to go on a mission, I believe, for a year. So how does he fit in your long-term plans, and just what kind of talent is he?
Well, I'm only allowed to discuss the players that are officially signed. So, once we get to that, and once that's been public, and then I'll be able to comment on it. But until then, I can only comment on the players that are here. But if speaking in general, we feel good about our quarterback position. Feel good about the talent that's coming in there.
Oh, okay, sorry. I thought he had already signed, so sorry about that.
Trying to get me in trouble, Dana.
Next question from Mitch Harper.
Kalani, I'm curious, I wanted to ask you, there were reports last summer that Texas Tech was getting a roster of the team that you're going to face this Saturday of more than $28 million. I'm curious, going forward with recruiting, is that kind of like a number that it's going to take to build a national contender going forward?
Well, I don't know what the actual numbers. I don't work for Texas Tech, even though I'm friends with Joey McGuire. I know that there's a lot of speculation on how they got their roster together, but I'm gonna first say that Joey is a great builder of culture, and you can see that the culture works in their program, and you can see that it's been able to embrace all those that have been there for a while and developed in the program, and the newcomers that have been in that program. So, in regards to NIL and rev share and all that stuff, we keep our things private here. Our goal is to be in the market, but also make sure they're a right fit. Don't want guys just coming just for money, So they've got to come for the experience, and obviously there's a lot of money available. But if their number one thing is money, then this is the wrong place. And if the conversation starts off with money, this is definitely the wrong place. And so we're going to be focused on the fit and the program and the mission of our school, and that other part will just be more of a secondary conversation, maybe even the third conversation.
Thanks. And then I just want to ask you about a specific player that signed, Bot Molitalo. He converted over from defensive line to offensive tackle during his prep career. What do you like about his potential as maybe an offensive lineman in your program going forward?
Well, he fits in the line of guys like Kingsley and Panay, that same body type, guys that can play D-line, obviously, in college and the NFL. And the difference is I think he's still kind of new to O-line, but he's really good at it, and he can play either one. He can play whatever position he wants, and he's athletic enough to even play tight end. So he's gifted. We feel like an O-line position would be good for him there, and we think he can play early. We think he can compete for a starting spot right away. We happen to have some openings, but we also have some great rotation. The key is the best play, and the good thing is that he's going to start school in January and have a great offseason going into the fall of 26.
Next question from Jake Hatch.
Yeah, Kalani, just based on how things went yesterday with the new contract, there's reports you're going to have an increased amount of NIL. Are you planning on, strategizing, keeping recruiting centralized? Or are you going to want to go more national as you guys get more and more prominent in terms of your recruiting prowess?
we've always been national in recruiting. I mean, that just because we want the players to feel valued doesn't mean that we're going to change the way we do things. Our recruiting would be the same way. But we're going to, the fact that we're in the Big 12 and that we have more resources now is going to allow us to get into more homes and allow us to communicate to more people about what BYU is all about. And it's the mission of our school, which is aligned with the mission of our team, and aligned with our church. The goal is to get the right fit, and the right fit could be, in Australia. I don't know. I've asked years ago for everybody to help me recruit, so I still need that. We are going to recruit globally, but also focus on the guys here close to home, and then there's nothing wrong. I mean, we've gone all the way out to Arkansas to get Braxton Lindsay, Colorado, and Texas. So we've been a lot of different places, but I don't think we need to really change our protocol. We want to have young men that fit the team and fit the university, and then we'll see that the money, increased resources doesn't change the way we do things. We have to still be, we want to be updated, but we want to have old school principles and old school values still.
And there's to piggyback off that real quick, are you planning on adding more recruiting staff at some point down the line with the added resources?
Recruiting staff, you said?
Yeah, staffers, like people to
Yeah, I mean, within reason. I just because you have, I want to make sure that there's a purpose for it all. Just because another school might have more doesn't mean that we get exactly what they do. We want to make sure that there's a purpose for them to be here, and that there's a actual job for them to do. So there's going to be a lot of things that we're going to improve and increase, but it's all got to be within reason, and it can't just be. We're not going to be splurging and spending. We're going to be really responsible with the finances.
Next question from Jay Drew.
Kalani, this is your 11th class that you'll sign this month and in February. Where does it rank among the 11 classes you've big picture wise? Where does this signing class rank?
I don't know. I think a lot of people have different rankings, and kind of put the rankings up there. But it's interesting. We get guys that committed since June that had a certain amount of stars, and they lose stars all of a sudden because they're committed to us. And so it depends, when you're looking at the brand and who people sign with, all of a sudden the people that make the star system, I don't think you can bank on that, So for us, it's like, what class was Chase Roberts and Tanner Wall and all them? When you look at it and what we've done, we went 11-1 with this signing class that are seniors now. Some of them went on missions, So when you look at that, I look at potential. I'm looking at the potential here with this signing class, and the sky's the limit for this class. We can do some really great things with it, but I felt the same way about all the classes that we've had and the teams that are the guys are on our team currently. I feel the same about them. I feel like we've got a great thing going. We just need to keep adding to the system, and these guys fit exactly what we're looking for on and off the field, and we're looking forward to seeing what they can accomplish. But overall, we have our own measurement of how we're going to judge our players, and we think that's going to work. They got to fit the culture first, because the culture will help us win games.
Next question from Dana Green.
All right, I got one that won't get you in trouble. Can you talk about some of the local? I probably should have got on Twitter before I got on the Zoom call to see. Can you talk about some of the local guys who have signed and what they're going to bring?
Yeah, I mean, they're all the guys from the state of Utah have been amazing. When you got Kawe Akana, and he's going to play safety for us. He does a great job. Adam Bywater, he's Ben's little brother and little big brother, so he's linebacker out of Olympus. Those guys can play, and there will be a defensive side along with, Juni Moala from Orem. He's disruptive and has tons of stats, and he's a force, and so he's nice out of the group. And when you look at the offensive guys, you add into Devon Aka from Lehigh, the running back, Legend Glasker, his teammate, and those guys are family to Isaiah Glasker. So there's a gene there that allows him to be super fast. And then you got a big-time playmaker, Brock Harris, that's down there in St. George area out of Pineview High School, and then combine that with Graham Livingston. He's a big playmaker, receiver out of Ridgeline. So you look at these type of playmakers, they all make a difference. And we have other guys that are still we're looking in this entire class. We're hopefully looking to add some more. maybe a couple more, a few more in this class, and then looking to add a few more in February when that happens, and that with a combination of some people that we'll get in the transfer portal when that does open, we'll take a look at that and see what we have there that will fit our program.
As national as this program has gone, can you just discuss the importance of staying local? You've always wanted to recruit local. How key is it to keep these guys home?
Yeah, it's great football in the state of Utah, and so we want to recruit here first, and that. It's want to take care of our backyard first, and that's going to be the key. And a good number of our roster comes from the state of Utah. But we also want to make sure that we look at other places, people that can fit what we're doing here. It's a good mix. I think half our class is out of the state. That's a good number when you're looking at every year our signing classes have been around that, and so I think it's a good mix right there. And then they got to play football first. They have to be able to do it. They have to have the talent. I don't really care where they come from. It's just a lot easier when you don't have to jump on a plane to go recruit them.
Last question will be from Brandon Gurney.
Yeah, Kalani, to the standouts are both tight ends, two of your 4-star prospects, and Brock Harris and Ty. I'm just going to call him Ty from Colorado. I'm going to butcher his last name. But and then you got Reiner Swanson on his mission. Kind of speak about the tight end futures and just those two specifically, what they add to that position.
Yeah, I mean it's awesome when you're looking at the tight end position and you have Parker Ord out of Frisco, Texas, and so I mean those guys can all play. The hard thing is that they're going on missions, so we've got to wait for them. But there's always a good amount of people that go in and out from returning from the missions and guys that we can get in the transfer portal. But it's helpful that when you have big time ball players that are out on missions and willing to serve a mission. That's going to be key for us. I think they'll be great teammates and great leaders for us. And for me, it's like. Hurry and wait, for that situation. But that the mission program is something we're always going to support. I served a mission, so I get it. And I think it's going to be really helpful when we get these guys back serving wherever they're called to serve the missions and doing some wonderful things. It's going to make them even better as leaders.
There's Kalani Sitake with the media. We're talking football with Riley Jensen next. Stay with us. Get the best blankets and gifts ever and save 50% this season with the promo code ZONE50. Shop online at MickeyCouture.com or visit any of their 6 locations. DJ, PK, and we're joined now by Riley Jensen. Riley, good morning.
My guys, what's happening?
Well, Kalani isn't going to Penn State. He's staying at BYU. That is clearly the big news. And it made me think as they, invest and we see all kinds of stories out there about, just massive numbers. It made me think Riley's not just a former Snow College and Utah State quarterback, is usually what we talk about. But for one spring, you went to BYU, competed for the starting job. You didn't get it. And you told us, Norm Chow understood when you moved on because you wanted to go somewhere where you could play. But what BYU football looked like then and what it looks like now, like nobody then would believe now. I don't know that any of us would, but especially if you were there walking around in the facilities with those coaches in that era. And I get the whole sport has changed, but does it blow your mind?
Yeah, there was still a part of BYU that was coming off the Cottonwood Bowl at that time, and it was a big time feel, about as big time a feel as you could have for BYU at that time, and I still think they would be blown away. And so I don't think that there's any question that the amount of money that's in the program, the amount of success that's happening in the Big 12, and some of the different things that are going on are huge. I will tell you this. 2 of my most impressive teammates at BYU when I was there were Kalani Sitake and Aaron Roderick. And so it's one of those things where I'm not surprised. These guys were playing big-time football even back then, and I'm not surprised that their discipline, that their personalities, their work ethic is translating to to this kind of success at BYU.
We saw some national reports that BYU is going to give an extra 10 to 15 million available for NIL, and that's above what the university is allowed to pay. That's $20.5 million. That is through all sports. So, and most of it obviously does go to football. And in your experience in talking with high school kids and signing day being upon us and all, what do you think is a deciding factor if you're listing the reasons as to why a young man chooses a school as far as the financial compensation is? Where do you put that in the pecking order of level of importance for the young men that would be considering signing with BYU?
Well, I think it's super important to 5-star athletes and 4-star athletes. I think your 3-star athletes are excited about the possibility of what could happen, and there's some schools that don't have as much money that they're basically dividing this into like, look, this is what the slot is, and this is what you're going to get paid if you're the starter. We're giving you the opportunity to earn that money if you're a starter. But BYU with, and we saw this with Lane Kiffin with what the extra $25 million that LSU is going to pay for their NIL. What we're seeing is that they're going to be able to go out and offer like big time money to big time recruits. And so it's a game changer. And I think now that we've had a couple of years in the Wild Wild West, or 3 years in the Wild Wild West of all this money, schools are starting to figure out that, hey man, if we can pay premium prices at these positions and in these places, we can land some big time recruits. And I think it's a game changer for BYU right now. I mean, you look at some of the players that they've been able to bring over, even from the University of Utah. I think the key to NIL is being able to poach like what you need for next year from other schools. And so I think it's a big deal, and I think Kalani realizes what a big deal this money is, and that he's going to be able to compete on a national level with the amount of money that they're putting into NIL.
So I'm curious if the best way, if you get a bump, any school, I mean, it's BYU in this case, but you get a bump, is it best to spread that money around the second and the third string if you're really good at developing people? Because the more people you have who you think are pretty good with a chance to develop, the more likely you are to hit, right? It's like having a deep farm system in baseball. Or is it about, hey, now that you have this money, impact player at quarterback, impact player at left tackle, impact pass rusher to disrupt the other team's quarterback in their passing game? How would you handle that? Would you spot it on 3 or 4 key positions, or try to build depth across the roster, especially if you were good at bringing those players along?
Well, I personally feel like, I mean, you've always got to spend money on a quarterback. You've always got to spend money on some playmakers and then a left tackle. But I think where you can really make some hay is at D-line and on the offensive line, where maybe there's a school, and I don't know what the exact numbers are, but let's say that there's a school that's offering $200,000 to a really good offensive line prospect, and you're able to come in and pay him $300,000. He maybe doesn't start, but he brings tremendous depth and really, really good talent to those positions. Because I still believe, I really still believe that, these skill players and guys like Bear Bachmeier that are going to be really, really good for the school for a few more years are really a big deal, but it's still won in the trenches. I mean, BYU's playing good football because they have a really good defensive line. Their offensive line has totally played better than what I thought they were going to play this year. And you win it in the trenches. When I'm watching a game I'm watching the first few series to see what's going on with the offensive and the defensive line, and that's going to give me a really good indicator about who's going to win the game. And the perfect example of that is when BYU is playing against Texas Tech. When I was watching that game, I was like, this could be a long day, because right now that D line is winning and that offensive line for Texas Tech is winning, and that doesn't bode well for you. So I think maybe it's a combination of both. I'm positive that these college teams are now talking to pro teams to ask them how they kind of divide up their money and what percentage is allocated to each position and those sorts of things right now, because you can do the same thing that pro teams are doing on a smaller scale in college. And so I'm sure there's been some conversations with Andy Reid and what he thinks, and some different people that BYU coaches are connected to in the NFL to find out the best way to spread this money. And they've probably already been doing that on a smaller scale. Now they're going to be able to do it with even more money, and that makes you feel good if you're a BYU supporter or fan, that, man, they're going to be able to allocate money to different positions to help out.
I know you know a lot of people. I'm wondering if you got any involved in conversations about Kalani possibly leaving to go to Penn State. At the press conference, I learned that, quote, it came down right to the buzzer, meaning that, it was touch and go as far as him staying, him going. Obviously, he stayed. I'm wondering if you got involved in that process to find out what was going on.
I tried really, really hard. The three people that I know pretty well on the staff were amazingly tight-lipped. And I try not to push too hard. I'm in this part-time. I was only interested in, how it affects them and their families, but they weren't even budging with me. And so, from other people that I've talked to that have been able to, it was definitely touch and go. And on let's see, what is today? Wednesday. I heard on Monday like it was a done deal. He was going to Penn State, and then somehow, not to use religious terms, but there was some sort of Hail Mary that was made to be able to get Kalani to stay.
I think of that as a Roger Staubach term. So,
Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord be with thee. Blessed art thou.
No, that's not Roger Staubach right there.
That's the prayer. It's an actual prayer.
I know it is.
Did you ever recite it?
Maybe.
I have many times.
I had a kid in the dumb class. We've heard all about it.
It feels like it's kind of worked for you, PK.
Oh, I've needed several Hail Marys in my life. Hail Marys, Bloody Marys, you name it.
I'm just saying, I know Jackie, and I know that was a Hail Mary for you. So,
the Lord was with thee.
All right, speaking of Hail Marys, Saturday morning, there's a little game that's going to kick off at 10 a.m. What do you expect in a rematch? How different will the rematch be than the first game?
Or
how similar?
I've been thinking about this a lot. Number one, LJ Martin was not healthy at all. In fact, in that game, I think he played for his teammates. I don't think he should have played. I don't think he could run the way that he could run in that game. I think that's going to be a difference. BYU simply cannot have 67 yards rushing again and win this game on Saturday. They've got to establish some sort of a run game, some sort of ability to hit some seams, and they've got to come off ready to go on the offensive and defensive lines if they're going to pull off the win in this game. Now, I do think that psychologically it's really, really hard to win 2 games in a row against the same team. So I think that bodes well for BYU. They've got to establish some sort of run game like I was talking about. And then, they've averaged almost 200 yards a game rushing during the year. To have 67, they've got to double 67. They've got to be in the 125 to 150 yard range in rushing. And then in the passing game, they had about 180, and he's been averaging about 220. I think he's got to be at least at his average or maybe a little bit more in the passing game. And then Chase Roberts, Parker Kingston, Cody Hagan, I really feel like wide receivers, when it comes to football, they're kind of like dunkers in basketball or three-point shooters in basketball, where if they can make a big play or if they can make some sort of, play that has a lot of heart in it or a big catch, that could be something that swings momentum BYU's way. And so look for those guys. They didn't make the normal plays that they made all year long in that Texas Tech game. And so look for BYU to try and get those guys going a little bit early, try and get LJ Martin going a little bit early and see if they can't, break through with some individual plays that really build momentum and confidence for BYU to start the game.
So the Devils beat them, the only team to administer a loss to Texas Tech. If you were an offensive coordinator, the statistics that they had offensively were better than anybody else had all season because the Tech defense was really dominant. How much would you look to see? Could you possibly recreate what ASU did in order to win that game a couple of weeks back or several weeks back?
Oh, I think you look at that statistically and you're like, okay, what did they see? What was the timing of what they called? Why were they able to move the ball? I think part of it was because of Sam Levitt. I mean, he's a really, really good player. I also think there were some looks that Texas Tech threw at Bear Bachmeier that was the first time that he was really challenged as a freshman, where he looked a little bit confused. I can remember him looking at the little iPad and asking a lot of questions. I think he's going to be a lot more prepared this week than maybe he was in that game. They threw some looks at him that I know confused him, and there was parts of the game, and I don't think this is a bad thing, and I don't think that I'm being critical here, but there were parts of the game where Aaron Roddick was actually telling him where to throw the ball. And that becomes really, really hard on an offensive coordinator, because if you have to tell the quarterback where to throw the ball, you better be right. And Bear was enough confused in that game that Aaron just said, okay, we're going to run this play, you're going to look it off, and you're going to throw the dig right here, and it's going to be open. And there were some times where it was open, and there were some times where it wasn't. But that's what they had to resort to pass the ball. And so I think Bear will be much more prepared mentally that this team can do some different things. And I feel like Bear is a really, really intelligent quarterback who wants to learn. And I think because of that, he's going to be more prepared for this game. Now, I'm not necessarily predicting a win for BYU. I really hope that they do, because I think it's the only way that they get into the playoff. But they are going to play much better in this game than the 27-9 result of the first game.
That game was November 8th. Think back to your playing days. And maybe it's different now. Maybe there's so much more video now. But
October?
How much?
What game are you talking about?
November 8th, Texas Tech, BYU.
Oh, you're talking. I thought you were about the ASU game.
How much can you improve as a football player in a month, especially a quarterback?
Well, I think he has improved. I mean, over the year, you just think about his first three games compared to the way that he's playing now, he's improved a ton. I think the biggest thing that could be a possibility is to how he feels. I don't know how he's been banged up all year. He plays a pretty physical game. My guess is that he's a little bit more healthy, and when you get more healthy as a quarterback, it can really improve your game. And so I think he's probably in a rhythm. I think he also knows a little bit more what to look for. And this will be an interesting step in his growth because, like I said, playing a team for the second time is difficult, but it's also going to be really, really important to his progress that he's ready for the different scenarios that Texas Tech threw against him, for the different scenarios that maybe Arizona State was able to be successful in. And so I think I do think you can improve every single week. It may not be in the yardage or in the stats, but it might be in third downs or in the red zone that he's a little bit more efficient, and that can be really, really big when it comes to the games.
Yeah, the thing that I want to see is them take shots because they're a double-digit underdog, and I felt like it was a little on the conservative side. Let's play not to make a mistake on offense, and I don't know if you can do that. I think you're going to have to just be aggressive, and if you make mistakes, well, maybe you're going to lose anyway, but in my mind, go down. If you're going to go down in a more aggressive fashion than what we saw the first game.
That really surprises me, coming from you, that you think that you should go down swinging.
Yeah, I'm 100% with him.
I have a feeling.
I'm 100% with him, Riley. I mean, you're not going to drive 12 plays on these guys. They're really good. So when you get a chance to make a big play, go for it.
No, I agree. I'm just saying, if there's anything I know about Patrick
Kinahan, right? Yeah.
He's going to be scratching the inside of his coffin. He's going to be so upset that he's passing away on us. But I totally agree with you. They got to take the shots. I think they're going to be able to take a few more shots because LJ is more. He is so much more healthy at this point than when they played the first time. And I think that just sets up some of the play action and some of the things that you want to do when you want to take shots downfield. So yes, I think that's what I was hinting at a little bit when I was talking about the receivers being big play receivers and making big plays. They've got to take those shots and they've got to land a few of them, right? And I think that can really change the momentum of a game and the confidence of a team when your wide receivers are making plays like that. So it's going to be interesting. I agree. You need to be a little bit more aggressive. I totally agree with you guys that they buttoned down the hatch a little bit and they were playing a little bit safe in that first game. And I really don't think they have anything to lose.
Right.
I mean, I think they know win and you're in, lose and you're out. I mean, I think that's the way that it looks right now. So you might as well go for it.
Yeah.
Riley, we appreciate the time as always. Thanks for joining us. Enjoy the games, and we'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, guys.
There's Riley Jensen. When we come back, what is trending? The headlines are next.
It's time to get your morning started with the news you need to know.
News update.
This is what's trending with DJ and PK. Hashtag NFL.
It's being talked about around here a lot. Maybe it's time. Maybe it's a clean house time. Maybe it is. Maybe it's time. And I like Coach Tomlin. I have a lot of respect for Coach Tomlin. But maybe it's best for him too.
Sure.
Maybe a fresh start for him is what's best. Whether that's in the pros, whether maybe go be Penn State's head coach. You know what he would do in Penn State? He'd probably go win national championships.
That's Pittsburgh Steelers legend Ben Roethlisberger. He's ready for the Steelers to move on from Mike Tomlin. They are 6-6. Floated the idea Tomlin could coach Penn State. Yeah.
I don't know that Tomlin is the problem. I don't like just because it's
100%.
Let's just get rid of him just because.
Have they had good quarterback play in the last decade? Have they had great quarterback play in the last decade? And I think the answer to both those questions is no.
On the other hand, I would love to see a man as accomplished as him, a no-nonsense dude, to see what he could do at the college level. I mean, Pete Carroll did it. But Pete Carroll didn't have the success. He later did, but he didn't have the success at the time when he went to the college game. Belichick obviously is trying to do it. He's probably going to be the highest profile example, and we'll see how that works. Bill Walsh did it. I don't remember.
Steve Spurrier.
Was he a successful NFL head coach?
He was not. He gave it a shot, but it's not always a guarantee.
There's been guys who've done it, but I'm talking about a big-time successful, bona fide NFL coach who's proven it many times over. Tomlin fits that category. Obviously, Belichick does too. And he goes to a Penn State program, which, when we talk about brand, obviously Penn State's brand would be bigger than North Carolina's brand. They have the basketball brand, football okay, occasionally pretty good. But it would be interesting to see. I have no idea if he has any interest in doing any of that, but I would like to see it. Because he's young enough that he could. Belichick's at the end, either way.
Yeah.
Tomlin got the job at Pittsburgh so young. He's still young enough that he could go a decade plus.
If Tomlin takes another NFL job, which seems more likely to me, but anything could happen, certainly. But if he took another NFL job, do you think he could do what Andy Reid did?
Yes. You got to have the horses, but yes.
Yeah. He's got to find his Patrick Mahomes, just like he found his Ben Roethlisberger, or as Ben Roethlisberger found him. 1 week after 57 million people watched the Cowboys and the Chiefs on Thanksgiving Day, which is an NFL viewership record, the Cowboys are back on another Thursday. They're playing the Detroit Lions tonight, 6:15 prime video. Two teams, PK, that are trying to find their way in. This will be a huge win for somebody.
It will. Yeah, I agree.
Right now, both teams are on the outside looking in. Top 7 go, and they are 8-9. Detroit chasing 2 teams in the division, so I guess the wild card seems most likely. DJ and PK.
Hashtag college football.
ACC Commissioner Jim Phillips, he's out there pushing for Miami, lobbying for the Canes to get into the college football playoff, along with the winner of the league championship between Virginia and Duke. I have conviction and confidence on our team, starting with Miami, Phillips told the Associated Press. Second piece of that is the Virginia-Duke winner should absolutely be in this college football playoff.
I absolutely disagree with that. But go ahead and stump for your teams, Miami. That's your job. I think Yarmark has not done a good enough job. Simply saying I have confidence, no. Call him out. As I said, he should have held a press conference the last 3 weeks, Tuesday nights at 7 o'clock our time.
It was great. He was on the Arizona State broadcast on Fox, but get on 10 more broadcasts.
Start earlier, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like it's too late in the game.
The die is cast. Late in our show yesterday, we told you Chris Kleiman announcing his retirement at Kansas State. AD Gene Taylor lamented the state of college football, burning out people like Kleiman. Texas A&M offensive coordinator Colin Klein will take over, former quarterback and a former assistant coach there.
I think the burnout is an individual one because right above that on our rundown, we've got Ferentz at 70.
Kirk Ferentz is coming back, the big 7-0. Give me another year at Iowa.
If Kleiman is burned out, so be it. But, I mean, that's an individual decision. I don't think it's universal. I don't think the game has worn out people. Certainly the game has it. Maybe all the stuff around it has led to it. But the game, no. It's hard for me to believe that somebody's burned out about the game, the actual coaching part, which guys love, at only 58 years of age. Maybe all the peripheral stuff that is not actually even peripheral now. It's paramount and tantamount to your success. Maybe he got sick of that. Okay. It happens.
The job has changed.
Yeah, but I mean, if the job is going to change, if you're going to be in it any length of time, no matter what era, what decade, what generation, it's going to be different. Everything is different 10, 15 years later.
Ferentz is not only coming back for year number 28, leading the Hawkeyes. At 70, he drops the quote, "I don't envision stopping in the near future." And he's got a contract for the rest of the 20s, 2029.
But it normally doesn't play out that way.
No, normally someone helps you stop.
Right. When you get to be this age, the questions are you going to be there? Now, it's mitigated with the transfer portal. So if somebody comes in that you don't like, boom, you're out there, you're gone, and you're eligible the next year. So that mitigates it a little bit. But how many coaches in their 70s have really been what they were, say, in their earlier 60s and 50s and so forth? They may still be, but can you get the guys? Is the record as good? You may have the energy, and I don't have any doubt on that. But we're looking at Belichick flounder in his 70s. We're looking at Pete Carroll flounder in his 70s. Popovich had health issues in his 70s. Just doesn't seem to work. We just wait, and we elect those guys president.
Iowa, 8-4, and all the losses by 5 points or less.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah. Close games with Oregon, Indiana, and USC.
Team.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not prolific offensively, but they're a tough team. We know that.
They're no longer a disaster offensively, but you're right. They are not prolific. If they were prolific offensively, then we'd be talking about them the way we talk about Indiana. Can they pull up alongside Ohio State? Can they beat these guys? DJ and PK.
Hashtag Utah Jazz.
Jazz have gone to New York for a couple of games. The Nets tonight in Brooklyn, Barclays Center, 5:30. Coverage on the Zone starts at 4:30. They'll play the Knicks, and then they'll come back home. The Nets, a WPK.
Yeah.
Maybe the last W we can forecast on the schedule for a while. They'll beat somebody. It's not like they're going to lose the rest of the month. But
it should be Houston.
Schedule the rest of this month is difficult, but this is the one that sits out there as an obvious chance to win a game.
Oh, I think the next two games.
Take down the Knicks, too?
The Knicks are okay. I'm not saying they're not, but I don't think they're unbeatable. I don't think, especially in the East, I don't think there's anybody
unbeatable
that
in the East.
You look at the East and say, wow, man, this team is a superpower.
They're 14-7, but they've been feasting on the carcasses of the bottom of the East, which is pretty bad.
And for the Jazz perspective, the Nets played in Chicago last night and actually won, so they have to fly back to the New York area. And should be a little tired if you buy into that. Although they got a bunch of younger guys, obviously, in their reload.
Jazz have been all right at home. They've been bad on the road. 6-6 at home, 1-7 on the road. So we'll see how these handle these two road games in New York City. DJ and PK.
Hashtag NBA.
Milwaukee Bucks star Giannis Antetokounmpo said to be mulling his future with the franchise more than ever, could be open to being traded. He got hurt, had a calf strain, played about 3 minutes, left the game, and then the Bucks won without him. They beat Detroit 113-109. Detroit sitting in the top spot in the East right now. He's going to have an MRI today, and we'll see how serious that injury is and how long he's out for.
And there's a lot of talk of him being traded. Is he really a franchise one-of-a-kind superstar? I don't think so. I mean, he's great. Statistics are awesome.
But just because you get him, you don't automatically become a championship contender. Now, depending on who you have and who you have to give up to get him, maybe you do. But if we're going to put Jokic on the top level, is he at Jokic's level?
No, there's no way.
No.
I don't think he's at Doncic's level. I mean, he's a very good player, but I just wonder if he's a guy that can be the total alpha in the way a Kobe was. We've got other guys, obviously, you can point to. I just don't see it. So I'd be interested in having him on my team, depending on if I could rip off Milwaukee.
Clippers sent Chris Paul home, said they were parting ways with him, and after a 6-15 start, they went out and blew out the Atlanta Hawks 115-92 on the road in Atlanta. Clipper team that had been terrible on the road gets a nice win.
Well, they just had to get rid of Chris Paul.
Yeah, there it is. We'll see if that plays out over the next few games, because that will be the storyline if this keeps happening. One game, anything can happen in any one game. But what do they do over the next 10? Do they start playing a lot better? The teams that are bad, down around the bottom around the Jazz, the Kings lost in Houston, Charlotte lost in New York. It was fairly predictable there, except for the Clippers winning and the game you pointed out, with the Nets getting a rare win, number 5 on the year for them. Eldon Campbell, who played for the Lakers in the 90s, won a title with the Detroit Pistons, passed away at the age of 57. No further details in his death being released. We both remember Eldon Campbell from that time in L.A., PK, 57, awfully young.
Well, I remember in high school because he went to Morningside, and that's in the South Bay. That was in our coverage area.
An L.A. guy all the way.
So he was one of our guys that we followed. He went across the country to Clemson and then comes back. But, yeah, Eldon Campbell, he was, I don't want to say he was a legend, but he was,
well known.
In my time, he was a local guy.
DJ and PK.
Hashtag college basketball.
Number 9, BYU cruises to the win as expected. They beat Cal Baptist 91-60. A.J. DeBonsa, 22 points. Kebakeda, 22 points, 14 boards, 3 blocks.
Yeah, he's a key to this team this year, man. Keeping him healthy, keeping him out of foul trouble. Obviously, he has a big scoring thing against an overmatched team. But what he provides with the defense and the rebounding and the shot blocking and the shot intimidation, that can't really be replicated by anybody on that roster. Yeah. Zero. There's nobody on that roster who can do what he can do.
He goes to the bench. They become a much less physical team. Robert Wright III, 15 points, 11 assists as they pile it up. Now they get ready for, that's funny, you just mentioned Clemson. They got Clemson up next, coming up on Monday.
The Garden?
Is that Monday or Tuesday? I can't do
what?
doing math. The 9th.
Is that's Tuesday. Is it in the Garden?
Yeah, MSG.
This is the one?
Square Garden.
Yeah.
Get to play in the Garden. Cool deal.
Oh, for sure.
UVU loses to San Diego State, 77-66. Jace Whiting, 18 points as Weber State routs Oral Roberts, 92-66.
Sweet. That's Trent's son. Loved covering Trent. He was a baller for mostly for BYU.
Santa Clara tops Utah Tech 90-80. Aggies open up a 2-game East Coast road trip in Tampa against USF, 5 o'clock this evening. Coverage of the game starts at 4:30 with Scotty G on 1280 The Zone with the Jazz on 97.5 The Zone. DJ and PK.
Hashtag Major League Baseball.
City officials in St. Petersburg, Florida showed off the newly finished dome at Tropicana Field. Said they're confident the home venue for the Rays will be ready to go opening day 2026. After a year playing in the minor league ballpark, the Yankees field there.
Yeah.
They're back in the dome, which was damaged when a storm blew through there and blew the cover off it.
Well, the 9,000 people that go to those games, they'll be good to be back.
Colorado Rockies bringing in Josh Burns from the world champion Dodgers to become their general manager and turn around a franchise that has been floundering.
Well, I'm going to go Joel Klatt. Death, taxes, and the Rockies sucking.
Think they're going to keep sucking? Now they got a guy from the Dodgers.
I mean, it's
well, the question is,
let's check back in 5 years.
Will they get enough pitching? Are pitchers willing to go there and stay there, and will they have success there?
Well, and do they have enough hitting? Do they have enough fielding?
Will they keep banging out 100 losses or more?
Whatever you need to win a baseball game, that's what they need.
DJ and PK.
Hashtag NHL.
Carcone back of goal in front for Krause. Backhander, and he scores! Michael Carcone puts it on a platter for Lawson Krause, who did the rest, pulling the string on Billy Husso, and it's 1-0. This is turned over. Look out. This might be a 5-on-1 here for Utah. Gunther with Keller and Peterka. Gunther, backdoor. Peterka taps it in and scores. 6-0. And J.J. Peterka has his second goal of the game. There's a 3-on-2. Peterka back to Keller. Out wide, he shoots it, tips in, and they score. Keller had the shot, and that makes it 7-0. The Mammoth continue to pound the Ducks.
That's the final, 7-0. Peterka with 2 goals, 2 assists. Clayton Keller a goal and 2 assists. 2 in the first, 2 in the second, 3 in the third. They got that off their chest. You like it when a team plays with a chip on their shoulder?
Sure, and I like it since it was an 8 o'clock game on, was it on TNT or something like that?
You could go to bed.
Yeah, I went to bed. Yeah, they ain't
out of
coming
hand.
back.
Oh.
Yeah, I did go to bed. I don't need to watch the rest of this. I got to get up. So, yeah, if you're going to win, go ahead and pile it on like they did, man. That was... as I'm watching it, I thought, is this on replay? I just saw that.
Yeah.
A lot of times in hockey, you actually have to see the replay
to really know what the heck happened.
Right.
The puck's moving so fast.
I mean, you can, and there's bodies
in the way. You're screened away.
Yeah, and they're all right there in front of the net, like on the first goal. Okay, what exactly? I saw Carcone, and then I saw what's his face? Who the guy who scored the first goal?
Krause,
yeah. Why was I thinking Laos? I knew that wasn't it. Yeah.
Laos is a country.
Right. And I'm thinking, okay, I saw it, but I really didn't see it. And then when you see it, and like as it went on, like, man, these are replays here. They just keep piling on. And maybe that's the starting point to run off a streak. I mean, you got to have a starting point to get a streak going, obviously.
Road trip continues Friday and Saturday. They are in Vancouver and Calgary. So see if they can Put a little something together here. Team that has been much better at home than they have been on the road. They need a little road success here. See if they can pile up some points. DJ and PK. It's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. That is what is trending. Brought to you by Shamrock Plumbing. There's no job too big or too small. Get the personal touch with Shamrock Plumbing. Brian Santiago, BYU Athletic Director, is going to join us coming up at 7:30. We will talk Kalani Sitake and Big 12 title game with him. Barry Tramel, sports columnist for the Tulsa World, at 8 o'clock for more Big 12 football. Stay with us, DJ and PK. It's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Since the game went final in Lubbock, touchdown, Parker Kingston! The Cougars have wanted a rematch with the Red Raiders. Now they've got it, with a guaranteed spot in the college football playoff on the line. Listen all week long for the best coverage of BYU in the Big 12 title game, with exclusive interviews and analysis you won't get anywhere else. Then, on Saturday, catch a special Big 12 title game edition of College Football Game Day beginning at 8 a.m. with a post-game show immediately following the game. Exclusive Big 12 title game coverage on The Zone is presented by JCW's, the Burger Boys, quality and a lot of it. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
DJ and PK, we are scheduled to be joined by BYU Athletic Director Brian Santiago here momentarily. Barry Tramel will join us at 8 o'clock. The topic, well, there are multiple topics, but the Big 12 title game looming for both these guys now, PK. Questions for both of them about this game. It's a rematch. What can go different? Inevitably, these rematches are never exactly the same, but you're still looking at a Texas Tech team that is loaded. And how do you move a ball on the team that really doesn't give up that many yards or that many points? Chase Roberts told us, eliminate the mistakes. They've seen them on film.
Well, BYU clearly has to play a high-level game. There's no question about that.
We're joined now by BYU Athletic Director Brian Santiago. Brian, good morning.
Good morning, fellas. How you doing?
Good. So when you get the whole Kalani Sitake thing put to bed, do you find your desk clear and you get to take a breath, or do you turn around and find out, oh, there were 40 things happening while I was holding on to the football coach here?
Yeah, I wish life was about just sitting back and taking a breath, but the second that gets done, all the focus just changed right to Saturday. The guys fired up. Everybody's fired up. Great opportunity to go win a Big 12 championship.
Yeah, I was thinking about this. You know, who knows what's ahead around the corner next week, next month, next year, next decade. I mean, this job is never ending, right? Things pop up all the time, and you're barely into it. You're not even a year into it. But when we look back, whenever it is that you decide to move on 20 years down the road, whatever it might be, the thing that happened the other day could be the most monumental thing that's ever happened, that will ever happen in your tenure. I mean, maybe not. Who knows what's going to happen, as I say. But the point I'm making, this was a significant, impactful move that had to be done, and I'm sure you'd agree with that.
Yeah, 100%. 100%, guys. Super grateful that Kalani chose BYU, because in the end, that's what it came down to, is Kalani made a decision to be at BYU and to continue to leave a huge legacy for this football program. But, you know, you always want to look back and say you made decisions that were great for the program, great for the university. And I mentioned this in the press conference. You know, we're not just investing in the program, we're investing in people. And what it came down to is I'm just super grateful for the relationship that Kalani and I have. And the fact that we were together sitting at the table with Tom Holmoe 10 years ago up in Portland, and there was magic in that meeting. We knew that was the guy to lead BYU football, and that relationship that we've had the last 10 years has solidified in a way that made this moment really special because. Right, you're never going to be able to compete with maybe what's out there, but the reality of it is he knew we were making a long-term investment in him, and it's one of the reasons why I put him on my executive team, is his voice carries way beyond the football program. His program is a flagship, but he's a man that brings a lot of positive light to the university.
Everybody's got bosses, and when you're doing something like this, you got to figure out what to do, but you also got to make sure your bosses sign off on it. When you're trying to get this across the finish line and get it done, how many people have to sign off on it?
It's a great question, and alignment is everything in these processes, especially when timing is of the essence. And the beautiful part of this is there was great alignment coming down the line from top to bottom. David, it's critical, especially at a place like BYU. It's unique. Everybody knows it's unique. Everybody knows that this is one of one, and we're grateful for the support all the way up the ladder and down the ladder. And it was, to me, it was incredible. There was a ton of love in the room, and I don't say that lightly. There were people involved on my executive team helping make it happen, obviously up through our administration, and ultimately you have to have sign-off from the board. And so it was just the way it ended up, beautiful. Stressful few days, but in the end, Kalani made a choice to stay at BYU, and I do think it'll have a profound impact for years to come and forever. I think we'll look back and say, and certainly my vision and what I see happening is people are going to look back forever and talk about BYU football and talk about Lavelle Edwards and Kalani Sitake in the same breath.
Hard to believe, Brian, but I've known you for almost 30 years since you first got on campus as a youngster, and here we are all these years later. And one of the things that I've observed about you over the years, in my mind, you're a guy who acts as opposed to simply waiting and react. And that's why I thought you'd be great for the job, because you would act. And I hit you up just briefly the other night, and I said, well, wait a second here. Yeah. It says, this is a good thing now, and we're invested, and this is what we wanted. But the thought could be, well, Kalani had leverage, so he forced the issue. But you said, no, that's not the case. You've actually been working on it for weeks. Could you expound on that?
Yeah, I think it's important for Cougar Nation to know. We weren't sitting back as this program continues to rise and be nationally relevant. This is 2 years in a row. We're in our third year of the Big 12. It's 2 years in a row that we tie for the conference championship in the regular season. And as this program continued to rise this year, I mean, first of all, tip of the cap to Kalani and his staff and to our players. I mean, we had a major situation arise 2 months before the season. And you got an incredible returning quarterback in Jake Retzloff. Tough situation comes up. Next thing you know, he's off to Tulane, having an incredible year, by the way, and we're so excited for Jake. We've all been cheering loud for him. He's a great dude, and he's a great football player, and we're grateful that it's gone so well for him. But we're 2 months before the season, and you lose your third-year returning quarterback, and the next thing you know, we're 7-0, 8-0 with a freshman quarterback. I just think it's an unbelievable tribute to Kalani and his staff for the way they handled that situation and that adversity, and the team rallies. I was on record before the season just saying, somebody said, what are you most excited about? And I said, I'm most excited to see how our team rallies around a new quarterback. And certainly this exceeded everybody's expectations. But as the season, to answer your question, as the season started to progress, it's like, this is unbelievable. This guy has built a culture. Kalani's built something so special. We need to invest in him long term. We started these conversations weeks ago, 6, 7, 8 weeks ago. We were into these conversations and talking about, hey, let's do something long term. Certainly as the season goes on, this isn't, you've heard Kalani say it, this isn't the first time teams have come in. Every year they come in.
Yeah.
He's had multiple schools talking to him about coaching, taking over their programs. and he continues to choose BYU. But now you go back-to-back years where you're literally competing for the CFP and competing for the championship. You're realizing, hey, people are going to come like they've never come before. So we got out ahead of it. There were some really good conversations happening, and certainly these schools came at him, and the sense of urgency turned up in a big way. But yeah, we were out ahead of this, and certainly the sense of urgency that happened in the last week was real, and it's a compliment to Kalani, the program, the culture, and who he is, that the best schools in the country are coming after him. That's a very, very good sign for us. And then just ultimately, we're just super grateful when things got solidified in that room. And I'm just going to tell you, the feeling was off the charts when you can look each other in the eye. And I feel a deep sense of gratitude. I've been here for 28 years, but I grew up with BYU football running through my veins, and I just am so grateful not only to have the opportunity to be the athletic director, but one of the big factors for me, I believe, to have this opportunity is the relationship that Kalani and I have. And I'm super grateful to have him in my corner and to have the relationship we do, because I think that ultimately is where he looked around and was like, hey, if we're going to do this, we want to do it with people that are going to walk the path with us. So I think the sense of urgency was turned up for sure, but it's just a tribute and a tip of the cap to Kalani and the staff for the great job they've done with this program. If you have the best schools in the country coming after your guy, it just means your program's in great shape.
There are always changes in curveballs, and we've heard so much about this House settlement, and there's going to be $20 million worth of money, and the schools are going to have to proportion that out to different programs, and obviously football will get the most of it. But now I'm reading that at least several schools aren't going to sign the agreement that puts the penalties in place and how it's all going to be enforced. And I've read that if that doesn't happen, then it doesn't go in place. So are you looking at just the Wild Wild West continues? Is there something that hasn't been reported or I don't understand? What are the rules going to be going forward here for NIL and compensating players to keep this rolling?
Yeah, I think it's a great question. The reality of the current landscape is that it's not sustainable. The Wild Wild West is not sustainable. It's not. There's no possible way there can be sustainability long term for college athletics if there's no enforcement, there are no rules, and these participation agreements that actually set into place the regulations that's going to keep it an even playing field. Everything comes down to enforcement, right? If they don't have a way to enforce so that all the schools are playing by the same rules with this new settlement cap, you can't live in a wild, wild west forever. And up until June 30th, it was the wild, wild west. And then once the settlement went into place, we, like everybody else, I know the Big 12 is unanimous, or everyone unanimous is pulling for and hoping that the necessary changes happen so that there's sustainability long term, the cap is enforced. And, you hear a lot out there about, and certainly with everything out there are people saying all these schools are promising additional money on top of the rev share and additional NIL commitments and circumventing the rules. It's not sustainable. And we're very, very hopeful that things will play out so that there are the same rules and regulations for everybody in college athletics so that we're all playing on an even playing field.
So last night I get some information that somebody, one of the internal media of you guys did a podcast or something and is talking about a strained relationship with your coaches and particularly Kalani. And I'm thinking, well, after you didn't hire him, but I mean, I didn't really, I listened to it. I didn't really think it was that big of a deal, but I'm wondering, as you've gone through this opportunity here, because we all know, and somebody in your department or in the football department told me the coaches were ready to go and it came right down to the buzzer. I'm wondering, how much did that strengthen your relationship with Kalani, or did it even need strengthening?
I think anytime you go through something like this, that relationships are strengthened because trust is everything.
Right.
And in the end, when you look at each other in the eye and say, we're going to do this together, we're going to climb this mountain together, it can only strengthen a relationship. But Kalani and Tom and I, and I believe Kalani will tell you, in fact, I know he'll tell you, because we've talked about it in the last couple of days, we sat at that table together 10 years ago. And Kalani and I, there was a really great connection, and that relationship has continued to strengthen, and right now it's stronger than it's ever been. And because we all go through little moments where, listen, that was a critical juncture for our football program, for our athletic department. We have built so much positive momentum in this department, and all of a sudden you got that's weighing in the balance. It can do nothing but strengthen relationships when you look at each other in the eyes and say, hey, we're doing this together. And that's what I'm super grateful for. It's just funny to me that there are reports out there of a strained relationship. I've been the AD for 7 months now. What is it, 6 months? I don't know. I lose track of time. Mm-hmm. But for one of the first things I did is put Kalani on my executive team.
Yeah.
He meets in our strategy meeting with my executive team every Monday morning. His voice is super important for our athletic department, not just for football. Obviously, his primary responsibility is that, but he's in our strategy meetings. We meet so many times and talk about the whole, and then we're locked in because of my responsibility for football. And everybody knows football is the ship. It's the ship. It drives everything. And I'm just super grateful that we had that relationship. And so when the heat got turned up, we could take confidence in that relationship. And the trust between the two of us has never been stronger. And the love and admiration for each other has never been better. And I'm super grateful for it. I think it was one of the key parts of us getting to the finish line, was the trust that we were all in for him for the long game.
In the press conference, Kalani, you made it really clear that this wasn't just about Kalani getting money for Kalani's bank account, that he was concerned with the entire program, all the staff, all the players, and facilities and everything. And he made the point that players who come here just for facilities, that would scare him a little bit. But he did say the game day experience is magical, and you have to do stuff for facilities there. So for the 60,000+ fans who show up all the time, what are you planning next for the game day facilities? Because Kalani clearly carved that out on purpose, and wants. I think he thinks it's magical, and he wants more magic on Saturdays at LES.
Yeah, listen. First of all, I loved so much when he shouted out Cougar Nation, and the feeling that we all have for the fans, especially him, that connectivity. That's the magic. The magic is Cougar Nation feels invested and feels part of all of it. But you both know, and we all know, you have to be in the game with the facilities. You have to be constantly making facilities so great so that the student athletes have an opportunity. He clarified that. He said you certainly have to have the facilities. You don't want. That's not the reason they're coming. They're coming because of the school, the culture, the head coach. Ultimately, they're coming for the program. But you got to be in the game with the facilities. What we're doing, and by the way, I'm going to give a shout out. I think our fan experience team is the best in the country. What they're doing on a weekly basis to give not only Cougar Nation, but the visiting teams and their fans. An experience of a lifetime every time they come to that stadium is off the charts. And our fan experience team is second to none. But we're upgrading significant areas of the LaVell Edwards Stadium, specifically for the football program, the recruiting spaces, the locker room. That we're going to add significant VIP hospitality to some of the corners. We're doing some things to really enhance the experience, but the long and short of it is you have to have some of those facilities in place, but the fan experience team is going to continue to create an environment to come and support. And the other key component in this that adds 10x to the whole experience is we have a really, really, really good football team.
Yeah.
And that is what drives the whole thing, is you're not only coming to have an experience, but you're watching Big 12 football against the best teams in the country. That environment, when we played Utah, I mean, the electricity in that stadium, it's second to none. And then week after week, you got the best teams in the country coming in. I mean, make no mistake about it, the Big 12 has been a massive driver, being in a Power 4 conference, being in the game, competing for championships, competing for these things. But the electricity that's driven in that stadium is because our football team's so stinking good, and they're so fun to watch. Let's go, baby. Now you're getting me fired up. Now I actually want to play on Saturday.
Santiago, I know and love, is coming through once again.
Let's go, baby. Let's go. I'd be thinking, let's go.
You're just
what a cool opportunity. This is so good.
Well, the thing that bugs me, though, Brian, is I love the Big 12, and I've been a Pac-12 guy, Pac-10 guy my whole life, but I've made the conversion rather quick, and it's like, screw those idiots for breaking it up. You had nothing to do with it, obviously. It was more Pac-12 and Utah and all that stuff. Not that they broke it up, but I mean that you weren't ever in the conference. I just don't understand the lack of respect that the Big 12/BYU is getting repeatedly. And I think I think to an extent he's dropped the ball, that he should be running his mouth in the way that Sarkisian and some of these other guys have been running their mouths. And I don't know what's going on. Can you speak to why it seems like this team at 11-1 is such a long shot unless they pulverize Texas Tech and win the thing? It seems to me they didn't receive enough consideration last year, and they're not receiving enough consideration this year, and I don't understand it.
Yeah, it's super disappointing. It's actually disheartening, and it's disrespectful to our program. It's disrespectful to the Big 12. The fact that we're 11-1, our strength of record, our only loss is to a top 4 team, is just the fact that we're being disrespected the way we are is not right. The one thing that I will say is Brett Yormark's all the way in for championing this conference. And in the right circles, this dude is busting down doors. Everybody in the country knows this is a bias. You cannot explain it any way else. What Kalani and this team's done, 11-1, the teams that we've beaten in the top 25, the teams we've beaten on the road, our only loss to a team that's the top 4 right now. And when we played them, probably 3 or 4 of our best players are barely on the field. LJ Martin probably shouldn't have even played in the game. The thing that I'm excited about, though, guys, unbelievable opportunity Saturday. We control our own destiny. Our guys are healthy. Our team's ready to go. And we get another shot to go play Texas Tech on a neutral field for the championship. And I know our guys will be ready. But you can't explain it any way else. You guys have heard, and you guys are in the middle of it. You understand that you put blind resumes up there. There's no other explanation other than bias.
Well, I think you need to send those committee members some crumble cookies then.
You guys are something else. I will tell you this, though. I will tell you this. The Big 12 is the Big 12 football week in and week out is as good as it gets. And the other thing is we were not at our best when we played Texas Tech. So the fact we get another opportunity to go lay it out there and for the world to watch, big time. I'm just grateful that the distractions are behind us. You saw the reaction from the players. They're focused, and I'm excited to roll football out in an unbelievable stadium, unbelievable environment. There will be 70,000 people there, and Cougar Nation's going to come strong. And I said it once, I'll say it again. Vamos, let's stinking go.
You speak Spanish,
so
DJ.
excited.
Clearly. I
Let's
put
go.
that together.
I know. It's just celestial language, fellas. You guys got to get in touch with your Latin side. Let's go.
I got about 100 words, but vamos is on the list.
Let's jugar football.
Some numbers, some colors, and then just a handful of
Yeah, it's good. These are great times, and super excited for our guys, and just really looking forward to this weekend. And like you say, this time of year, how many schools have their destiny in their own hands? There's very, very few, and we're grateful to be a part of that group.
Okay.
Brian, we appreciate the time. Thanks for joining us, and we'll all be watching Saturday.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys. Thanks for always being so good to us, and really appreciate you being down there in support of Kalani and covering it the other night, and look forward to seeing you soon. Thanks for having me on, and Cougar Nation, vamos. Let's go.
Brian Santiago, athletic director at BYU, as the Cougars get ready for the Big 12 title game. We're going to take a break. We're going to get ready for Barry Tramel just after the top of the hour right here on The Zone.
Accessing.
This is Hans Olsen and Scotty G.
Joining us now, Ian Fitzsimmons.
Hans, Crazy Wings, George's. Did you hit it?
I didn't get to hit it, man. We ended up at the Brazos Grill. I got their chicken fried steak, but they did have these thing called the armadillo balls at the Brazos River that was really good, but it's not the Crazy Wing.
Can you go ahead and just lift Hans saying they did have these things called armadillo balls, which were really good?
I feel like Chevy Chase in the movie Funny Farm.
You polish off that plate and you break the record.
Stand back, everybody. The record falls tonight.
Now, there's a man who knows when he's got something good in his mouth.
On that mic drop, bam, done.
Catch Hans and Scotty weekdays from noon to 3 on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
This Air Supply? Partridge Family?
Partridge Family, yes.
Cow Sills?
Yeah. Happy birthday, Jay-Z. He's the artist of the day. It's brought to you by Live Nation. For all the live concerts and events in 2025, check out livenation.com.
Who's he married to? What's her name?
Some person, Beyonce?
Beyonce. You don't say. Mogul.
How old is he today? 56.
Mm-hmm.
You know me and math.
Middle age.
It's a struggle.
56, you nailed it.
56. There you go. We just had Brian Santiago on. A couple things that jump out at you. A couple things. He really sold. He knows the narrative is out there. He's a basketball guy, and basketball's flying. That's what he cares about, not football. I thought he really made the point of football drives the ship. Everybody knows this. Now, you can say it, and people may not choose to believe it, so you can't really control that. But that he made a point. That is definitely one thing I heard, and I am sure you heard it, and Yak probably heard it too over the weekend.
It's funny in that, he came in because he was there for so many years. 27 years, basically, before he got the job. He was basically an administrative assistant to Steve Cleveland when I first met him. He didn't even have an office. It was he shared the office with Steve Cleveland in the Marriott Center. Now they've moved over to that basketball practice facility where all the offices are, and because it was tight accommodations. But along the way, he sort of developed a negative reputation, and I don't know that I've seen somebody come in to a job this high profile and have to overcome a built-in negative rep. It's funny that way. And sure, yeah, he's a hard-nosed guy and all that, but hey, he was a scrapper, man. That's why he got to play D1 basketball. He had to fight and claw. I mean, he wasn't blessed with his overwhelming athletic ability, and so he's like a Max Hall. To be able to get where Max got was largely on toughness. He just isn't blessed with size and quickness and all the stuff that you need to be a great point guard in basketball. So he's a scrapper, and he's always been a scrapper. But he's also smart and astute, and yeah, let's go piss off the football coach. That's going to be to my advantage.
That's a heck of a way to build a career as an athletic director.
It doesn't really make sense.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, he's a basketball guy. But, let him build a bridge a little bit here. And he did put Kalani on there on the executive council, whatever you call it, to be able to meet with him because he wants his voice. So there's something to be said for that.
DJ and PK, when we come back, Barry Tramel, talking Big 12 title game. Sports columnist for the Tulsa World joins us next. Stay with us. DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Time to talk Big 12 football with Barry Tramel. Barry, good morning.
Well, guys, how you doing? I thought there was a time earlier in this week when I literally thought this was going to be like a therapy session for me. and like maybe some sort of memorial service. I mean, I'm sitting around, I can't remember where I was at, and I heard the news, Kalani Sitake might be going to Penn State.
Wow.
I mean, what in the world is going on?
Totally. But yet, I spoke to people on the staff. Their bags, metaphorically, were packed. They thought it was going to happen, and then somebody else, a prominent name, told me that the decision was made right at the buzzer.
Really?
Yeah.
Man, I can't even fathom a world in which that could even be a possibility. I literally thought this is not something that the sport can come back from. This is not something that, if Kalani Sitake is susceptible to the fever that grips every big-time coach in America, there's no hope for us all. I mean, were you guys stunned at this? I mean, this is like an alternative universe or something. I didn't understand that at all.
I get what you're saying. It was, in the movies when in the sci-fi movie when they put on the glasses and the whole world looks different. That's what it felt like to me. Because on the one hand, Kalani played football at BYU, and he was an assistant coach at Utah and the defensive coordinator. And he's been at BYU for a decade. I mean, he's a Utah guy through and through, and Utah guys who are through and through, they don't leave Utah unless they absolutely positively have to, and then they usually come back. So at first, I'm thinking there's no way. But then I think what you thought, it's like Penn State's desperate, and Kalani is winning. He is 22-3. Now, I wouldn't think Penn State would get their coach from the other side of the country. Some people are, Urban Meyer could live anywhere and just chameleon and just make the move and whatever. But not a lot of coaches are wired like that. So for Penn State to go out and hire a coach who's never been on that side of the country professionally, that seemed crazy. Yeah. And Kalani seems embedded here.
That's what I think. I mean, I told my radio guys here, I said, there's never been a coach more perfectly suited for a particular job than Kalani Sitake and Brigham Young. That's it right there. That's the model for everybody. Go find a coach who fits like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's what Penn State needs to do. That's what Oklahoma needs to do. Kansas State, Georgia Tech, Wisconsin Whitewater, Northern Arizona. Everybody needs to look for that. That's the ideal. And yet, Kalani may go to Penn State.
Well, I think
what is going on?
I think a little history lesson is involved here, and thanks for throwing in Northern Arizona. I spent my first 2 years out of high school before transferring.
Oh, what a
ASU,
place!
Yeah,
what a place
to Northern Arizona. I think that, and it's something that you may be able to write on and certainly speak on down the line, because I think it'd be interesting now that BYU's big time and all that, is that BYU it's obviously it's a religious sponsored institution, and the idea being that it is almost to the point of a religious calling, and they used to take great pride in a warped way of underpaying their people because they would get all sorts of spiritual blessings by working at BYU. And we had Lavelle Edwards on our show long after he retired, and Lavelle did, it's unbelievable to think this, after each game, he'd go up to the press box and not only do the post-game show, but take a call-in show. And they would call in. And I used to listen to it, and some of the idiots who would call in, and Lavelle he is the patron saint of Latter-day Saint patience.
Nobody had more patience than Lavelle.
Right. And he was retired at this point, right? And we were laughing with him, and he's like a year or two away from actually passing. And he said, well, I had to do the show because they paid me $75 a show. Right, and that, of course, that elicited a laugh, and he laughed when he said it. But and Val Hale, the old athletic director, tells a story of one of his predecessors. I don't remember what it is, and the predecessor goes to the university president and says that now your contract is confidential and you cannot speak it to anyone. And the athletic director says to the president, "Don't worry, President. I'm just as embarrassed about it as you are." And those are the stories that are out there. And so plus BYU has a hierarchy. You got guys in. The athletic director does not report directly to the president. There's a go-between. And I don't know about the new guy, but I've heard in the past these guys were just wannabe dudes who wanted to slap guys on the butt and say, hey, I know who Danny Ainge is, and Danny Ainge knows who I am, so aren't I cool? And when he goes to church on Sunday, he can tell BYU stories, and he gets a little publicity, and he gets a little separation from the humdrum life that we all live, right? So all those things going on there, BYU needed to raise the money up, not just for Kalani's salary, but for everything. And that forced him to seriously entertain the Penn State thing. And one of the things he said at the press conference, and DJ and I were both there, as was Jake, our producer, all three of us were there, and he said, I'm a competitor. And what he was saying when he said I'm a competitor is I needed the money to be able to win at the highest level. He can't say this, but I've also been told that Texas Tech defensive line makes almost as much as the whole BYU team. So he couldn't say all that stuff, but he forces BYU to up the ante, and that's why he was seriously entertaining it. If BYU forced him to take it, he would have, but then they came back and upped everything involved in funding a football program, so he took it. And I think if you have that understanding and that background, it's easier to understand why it almost came to pass, but in the end didn't, because of the reasons you just said, Barry.
Well, so alleviate my fears. So BYU came through and with the promises of sort of modernizing the pay scale. Is that right?
And just outfitting the program. But yes, pay, of course, being a direct line to it. But his assistants, the DJ speak about somebody reported
$10 to $15 million in NIL money, because it sounds like the House settlement is going to fall apart and it's going to remain the wild, wild west, because the enforcement only happens if everybody signs, and apparently everybody isn't going to sign.
Yeah, well, nobody saw that coming at all. But, well, okay. Well, I feel better about the world in general. My worldview is better than it was 2 days ago or 3 days ago.
The stories of football coaches who have the leverage, having to leverage people at BYU, and it's multiple people to sign off on whatever the project is, whether it's raising NIL money or building an indoor practice facility. It comes down to the football coach saying, hey, we've got to spend the money. And usually, stamping of feet and throwing of fists in the air. And there's a story about Lavelle standing up and asking the question, because he's the one who had the stature to do it. Hey, we got to have an indoor facility. Now, Barry, you came here. You took the time to fly from Oklahoma to Utah, and you were in studio with us when the Thunder were in the playoffs playing the Jazz, and you went down to write about BYU joining the league, and you saw all the facilities, but those did not just happen. Like, that indoor facility, I think of that story of Lavelle every time, and we were just there the other night. Every time we go by that indoor facility, I think Lavelle had to stand up and say, hey, are we doing this? We got to do this. And it comes down to the football coach is the one who usually has to do that.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry it has to come to that, but I'm pleased that the world didn't go cuckoo, because Kalani Sitake, coaching at Penn State, would go cuckoo. You know what it made me discover? I told the guys down here, I'm going to become a Penn State fan. If Kalani Sitake goes to Penn State, I'll be cheering for Penn State. That's how bad this is.
Yeah.
And let me tell you what, I never thought I'd see the day where I would consider cheering for Penn State. But now my whole worldview on college football is just determined, well, do I like this team? Do I like that team? It's all based on who's coaching the dang team now.
Yeah. Right.
You know, like for 8 years, 7 years, I don't know. I couldn't stand Texas A&M. Jimbo Fisher was clearly just a bumbling fool, but all of a sudden Mike Elko's the coach. He's no nonsense. He's not a kook. I don't mind Texas A&M. You know what would be the coolest thing in the world?
Yes.
If Ole Miss won the national title this year. That would be the coolest thing in the world.
You think
I'll be cheering for the Rebels the whole way.
That would be a rebel move.
Wow, that'd be a Steve Fisher Michigan basketball from 35 years ago.
That's it. But, I wouldn't have said that a week ago or whenever. So it's just madness. The whole thing is just madness. Madness.
Big 12 title game coming up. And there is a notion here that, and we just had Brian Santiago, the athletic director for BYU, on, and there's this notion that, hey, they are much healthier now than they were when they played them the first time. That could be a big difference. That game was on campus at Texas Tech, and they had the national pregame show there, whooping them up for 3 hours, just getting them just crazed. And there were tiny little patches of blue. The minimum they could do is what they did to fit all their fans in and keep BYU fans out. This will be different. However, and I think you can speak to this, on the one hand, Texas Tech doesn't have as much to play for because they should be in win or lose, and BYU is only in if they win. But the motivation, Texas Tech has been down for so long, and the whole town knows it. And so no matter where these players and coaches go, no matter how long they've been on campus, they're hearing about the last 10, 20, 30 years, and you got to get this. How motivated and how big a deal is this to Texas Tech?
Well, it's a big deal, and they'll be highly motivated. It's similar to what I think you will see in the Big Ten title game with Indiana being I'm not saying Tech's more motivated than Brigham Young, but Indiana will be more motivated than Ohio State because, frankly, the Buckeyes, their fans don't really care what happens in Indianapolis. They want to beat Michigan. They want to win the national title. So, but Indiana, they got a sordid history, not much going on. It's a big deal. And while Texas Tech is not anywhere close to Indiana's degree of utility, it's not all that rosy. I mean, they've been in one major bowl in the entire history of the program. One. And even that was with an asterisk. In 1994, Texas A&M wins the Southwest Conference but is on probation, can't go to the Cotton Bowl. The Southwest Conference, second place, five-way tie. And Texas Tech wins the five-way tie with a 6-5 overall record. That's the one Cotton Bowl they'd been to, and that was the first rendition of the Cotton Bowl being major. So this is not a program. They've never made it to Arlington. This is their first Big 12 title game. So it's a big deal. DFW is full of Tech grads. DFW is full of everybody grads, but they got a lot of Tech grads. I think it'll be one of the more rousing atmospheres because I know the BYU people will show up and show out, and Texas Tech will jam it to the rafters. So I think it's going to be a really cool atmosphere.
You think
but
the playoff
clearly Tech will be motivated listen, I think Tech's going to get a bye if they win this game.
I think they have to. Yeah, I would agree with that 100%.
So, I mean, they're going to. Well, and in fact, they got up to fourth, right? I think they got to fourth, right?
Yeah, they would have to.
We know they are. So it's a big game. It's a cool game. It's not, the SEC's playing a game they really wish they didn't have to play. But that's not the way it is in the Big 12. Both teams playing for a lot. Just forget the playoff. This is a big game just for Tech, who wants to win this and get the trophy. And BYU, I assume the same way. I mean, you guys were lost. The Cougars were lost in the wilderness of independence for so long before that, which was really cool conferences, but not terribly national in profile. And then all of a sudden, in their third year in the league, they could win the trophy. Last year, could have if tiebreakers had fallen a little bit different. So, I mean, I think it's a great, independent of the playoff. I think the Big 12 championship game is a really cool spectacle. It's in a great venue. I know it's a long way from Provo to Arlington, but that doesn't really stop BYU fans. So I think it's even a pretty good neutral site type situation, even though geography screams otherwise. So I like everything about this game. This is a reason you have these games. The Big 12, everybody talks about they need to get rid of these games, or maybe not get rid of them, because it's just really cool to play a football game that I think is going to mean so much to both places.
How much do you think the College Football Committee is over there silently hoping Texas Tech kicks the crap out of them, because they're going to have to put in – I can't imagine that they don't put in Tech win or lose unless they got beat 70-7, and they're hoping that BYU loses so they can look at it and say, see, because it looks like BYU's being disrespected again for the second year in a row.
Maybe, but how about this? What if they're secretly hoping the Cougars win so they wash their hands of this Miami Notre Dame mess? And the answer is neither. Remember the old Deion Sanders, Jerry Jones commercials, Pizza Hut. Which do you want? Offense or defense, baseball or football, pepperoni or sausage? And the answer is both. Well, how about if the answer is neither? Notre Dame, Miami? How about both?
Yeah,
how about neither?
I still
BYU
think
wins, and away they go.
I think they catch heat if Notre Dame is out. Then they'll say, why put in Texas Tech, who they beat?
Yeah, I think Tech's in.
I think they should be too, but I'm just saying.
I think they will be.
The blowback on Notre Dame would be bigger than the blowback on BYU not getting in.
I actually don't buy any of the conspiracy or even the psychological theories. I don't think the voters care about that. I think a lot of them are blockheads when it comes to football, but I don't think they're psychologically messed up. I really don't. I just I think they are. They look at the world. They look at this football analysis wrong. But I don't think they're sitting there thinking about matchups. I don't think they're sitting there thinking about do we really want to get Notre Dame on our bad side? Because here's the deal. For there to be a true conspiracy, and I'm not saying you're saying there's a conspiracy, but a lot of people say, well, they're trying to avoid rematches, or they're trying to set it up for next week, blah, blah, blah. I don't think there's 1 second of discussion about that. Because if there were, the only way that keeps quiet is if all 13 people voting and all 3 or 4 staff members of the CFP sitting around watching the voting, is if everyone in that room agrees. Because if there's any kind of discrepancy, if there's any kind of untoward behavior against the protocols, if they're doing something they shouldn't be doing, I think somebody would squeal. I think somebody would stand up and go to the media and say, hey, Here's what they did, and that's not right. That's not what we're supposed to do. You got to get everybody on the same page if you're going to have a – that's why I don't believe in the JFK stuff. Somebody would have said something. People like to talk. So I don't think they are – I don't think they're doing anything ethically wrong. I just think sometimes the way they look at football collectively with the majority is misguided.
So you don't think the police department, the entire department, was out to frame O.J. Simpson?
I probably do not. No, it doesn't seem likely to me.
Do you think it's just baked-in assumptions? Just baked-in assumption that the SEC is awesome? I mean, is there anything else that explains why South Carolina was 13th in the preseason AP poll before they went 4-8, or why Florida, who hasn't been good for a decade, was 15th before they went 4-8?
Yeah, and there's other. Yes, they
LSU ninth, and they went 7-5 and fired their coach.
Yeah. Now on LSU particularly, I don't blame the miscalculations of LSU football. I do not blame on the prognosticators. I blame it on LSU. They have a good thing down there, and if they screw it up, that's not on us. That's on them. Now, South Carolina, probably so. People were excited. They had the quarterback returning. They finished strong last year. But the one thing we got, guys, is these big conferences and the scheduling discrepancies.
Mm-hmm.
Like the most overrated team in America is A&M.
Yep.
There's not any question about that. If you haven't studied their conference schedule, I don't have it in front of me, for crying out loud, but I looked up the numbers. Let's see. You play at 64, so I think this is right. Texas A&M's 8 conference opponents this year had a conference record of 19-45. They played one team that has a winning record in conference. That was Texas, and Texas beat them. They played one team that was 500, Missouri. They went 4-4. LSU went 3-5. Then they played a whole bunch of. They played Arkansas 0-8. They played Mississippi State 1-7. They played Auburn 1-7. They played
South Carolina.
I can't remember.
South Carolina 1-7. Yeah.
They played Kentucky, or maybe it was
2-6 Florida. I'm looking at it now.
2-6. There you go. 2-6 Florida. They literally played the worst 5 teams in the league, and one of the top 8. I mean, that's where things get screwy, and so preseason prognostications are going to mean less and less than what we've been used to relying on, and frankly, NIL and free agency means we got this brave new world on all this stuff. So, we're going to see teams. We've seen it in the Big 12 last year with Arizona State. Nobody, they were picked last. This year, people thought Tech would be good. Nobody knew they were going to be this good. So it's a crazy, crazy case. But so that's what I think. I don't believe that. I believe that we're tying tradition-long or decades-long traditions, preseason polls, predictions, who's been good. We're tying those to modern situations, and it just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. Colorado can stink. Colorado can be good. Colorado can stink in 3 consecutive years. And you say, what's going on? And there's really,
Yep.
What you find out is that it's not Dion magic. It might have been Shador magic is what the Sanders magic in Colorado was. So it's great for college football. I think it's great, great, great that we have all these up and downs. Utah goes into the Big 12 looking great, has a miserable year, comes back, has a great year. Oklahoma State goes into the Big 12 looking great, has a miserable year, has an even worse year. You don't know. You just don't know. You just don't know.
Barry, we'll leave it right there. We appreciate it as always. Enjoy that Big 12 title game, and we'll talk to you again in a week.
Hey, good luck to the Cougs. That'd be great if they can bring the trophy back.
DJ PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Stay with us.
This is JJ and Alex. I got this.
If your team is good enough, you're talking about the possibility of a new coach. I did not think that a Kalani Sitake to Penn State conversation would have ever happened in our lifetime. And it's unfortunate because you're focusing on the Big 12 championship. No one else is, though. Everybody else is wondering. They're expecting the team to show up and start to play, but the question is whether or not they can. Here's what you need to take away from it. The only reason you're able to have these conversations right now is because you're living through one of the best moments of BYU football history, but things change. And the question is, are they going to change enough to woo Kalani Sitake away from BYU?
How on earth is this a good thing for BYU? This is a good thing for him, but don't say this is a good thing for BYU. It's not. This is a distraction. And it takes a lot for you to say, we need to focus on what we can control. Are you focused on what you can control right now? Because what you're focused on is your discussions with Penn State about what your future is.
Catch JJ and Alex afternoons from 3 to 7 on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Our Big 12 Championship game coverage brought to you by JCW's, the Burger Boys, quality and a lot of it. BYU. Can they do it? How much is health going to matter? How big a difference is it going to make? That seems to be the number one thing everyone is pointing at. The point spread has dropped from 13.5 to 12.5, PK. Somebody's bet some money on BYU.
I put 5,000 on.
Yeah, okay. Good.
So I was a little late to Christmas party, got back from Vegas.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Still, that's a big spread.
It still is, yes. It's enormous.
Just like you attacked that big spread last night.
If only I had.
And I saw you. I saw you later.
You did not.
Stuffing stuff in your pockets.
How
many cupcakes did you take?
Found you sitting behind a post. Away from everybody. That was the shrimp.
It was good.
Yeah, nice.
Fine time was had by all.
There you go.
Yeah. We walked downstairs because over at the new ballpark on the west side or whatever they call it, America First Square, and there was they had a little karaoke. You can sing Christmas carols, karaoke style. And there's probably these 4 boys, I'd say around 10 years old, screaming Jingle Bells.
When I walked by there was a mom trying desperately to get the 3-year-old to sing, and the 3-year-old seemed terrified and wanted no part of it. And Dad was there holding up a camera trying to record the magic moment, but it didn't seem like the magic was going to happen.
Ah, well.
I think I would have rather seen the 4 10-year-olds.
It was funny.
Belting it out.
Yeah, it was funny. Yeah, they were just screaming.
What do you hang your hat on if you're BYU? What makes this all better? Because the first time, that was 3 hours of agony.
Oh, I hang my hat on a lot of things. I think that you can, if you want to go negative, which I love to go.
Let's go negative.
You can't play any worse.
Stop the self-inflicted mistakes.
Yeah.
Texas Tech had nothing to do with you dropping the punt.
No.
Right.
And then passes.
Right, yeah. Dropping passes.
Yeah. So just eliminate that stuff and at least should be in competitive game. I'm not saying they're going to win, but don't do stupid stuff.
Don't give them 3, 6, or 10 points.
And the Bear Bachmeier situation now, having gone through it, he's going to be better for it. A-Rod's going to know what they can do, what they can't do against this defense. And so they'll be more prepared. The emotions can't be any higher. Everybody thinks Tech is in. So obviously they want to win the game. You play to win the game. But at the same time, there's only one team that's desperate. Because Texas Tech, you lose this game, but you win a couple playoff games. Which one would you take?
Done.
Well, done. Yeah. So I think you can go along those lines. You know, you always look for desperation in life. And what do you do about it? A lot of us, at one point or another, it's all relative, but we face desperation. And even if it isn't desperation compared to somebody across town, in your mind it's desperation. What do you do?
What do you do when you move your family to Salt Lake City, Utah, and you've got no family now within 600 miles, and 6 weeks into it, the editor takes you in there and says, I think you should look for another job? Huh? That's desperation. And what do you do? What do you do about it?
Try to be good every single day.
I say, bleep you, bleep you, bleep you, bleep blue. I will never forget this. And I never have. Doesn't mean I don't like them, but I never forgot it. And what do you do? So here, in a football sense, that's more of in a life sense, obviously. Hey, what do you do about it? I mean, you got embarrassed. The reason why you're not receiving consideration is because you got smoked. You got humiliated. You got dominated, man. Now, what are you going to do about it?
We had Brian Santiago on earlier this morning. He went straight to L.J. Martin's health because he'd left the Iowa State game, the previous game, with an injury.
Good luck running the ball against Texas Tech.
Right.
Is Gale Sayers healthy? Emmett Smith, Barry Sanders?
It's
Where's
not
Walter Payton when we need
It's
him?
not about who's carrying the ball
Sweetness?
because even those guys are in trouble when they're getting hit behind the line of scrimmage.
Right.
There's got to be a hole to run through and then work your magic.
But you can use L.J. Martin in other ways to make him be effective. I'm not diminishing his importance to the team. It's just that who has been able to run the ball again. It's funny how Utah and BYU couldn't run the ball against Texas Tech, and I have to hear, oh, Devin Dampier was hurt. L.J. Martin was hurt. Come on.
Maybe it's Texas Tech.
Yeah. It's amazing how everybody gets hurt when they're playing Texas Tech or is hurt. And I hope I'm wrong. I hope he runs for 130 yards.
Well, he'll get more than 10 carries, which is what he got in that game.
Sure, and I don't doubt that he was banged up.
And they did throw him the ball in that game.
And he probably shouldn't have been playing.
And I expect we'll see more of that.
But you're dealing with a veteran coaching staff here. That's the great thing about BYU. You look at their great years. Who did they have on the sidelines? And look at, you need the players on the field, and then look at their somewhat lesser years or even crappy years. Who did they have? You got these guys here. You're running around with a coordinator who's got 20, 30 years experience now, and everybody in his staff does too. There's no young guys in terms of experience, so they've got all this opportunity to create something. Now, I'm just talking about making the game competitive. Mm-hmm. In order to win, you're not going to blow them out. You're going to have to make the game competitive. So get me to that point, and then we'll see. And I think they have an opportunity to get to that point.
DJ PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Texas Tech, they have one thing that, well, at least half the playoff field is going to have. At least a third of it, maybe as much as half of it. We'll get to that next. Stay with us.
This is Jake Scott and Ben Anderson.
Where are you, Bert?
Also known as Brett Yormark, the commissioner of the Big 12.
Why isn't he out there talking about his league? Why isn't he pointing out these head-to-head matchups with the ACC? He needs to be out there saying that TCU beat SMU. TCU caught fire at the end of the year. Look at this. He needs to be pointing out that his league is a gauntlet.
He certainly needs to be fighting the ACC bias or whatever we're seeing from
bias.
the ACC that is giving them credit.
Bert needs to be throwing grenades.
Yeah, he should be the guy out there fighting harder than everybody. Again, he should book himself on SportsCenter every night after the college football playoff comes out on Tuesday nights or Wednesday morning. He should be on every morning show talking about how badly his conference is getting the shaft. I know that stuff is annoying. It also works. Being the squeaky wheel would help, especially because the squeaky wheel actually has something to complain about right now.
Catch Jake and Ben weekdays from 10 to noon on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
The John Watson Northern Utah High School Players of the Week Award, honoring the top boys and girls prep basketball players this week. Brady Schiffman from Weber High and Boston Greenlaw from Roy High. Schiffman tallied 14 points, 9 rebounds, and a 57-32 win at Roy. Another 15 points in a win at Box Elder, and 14 points and 13 boards in a 25-point blowout win over Cypress. Royals off to a 2-2 start with Greenhall averaging 16.8 points per game, highlighted by a 26-point, 11-rebound double-double and a win over Weber. See why new and used car buyers give John Watson Chevrolet more 5-star reviews than any other Chevy dealer in Utah. John Watson Chevrolet, your 5-star Chevy dealer. PK, why does Kyle Whittingham constantly talk to us about running the ball and stopping the run?
Because it's the most guaranteed path to victory.
The number 1 team in the nation against the run this year, Texas Tech. 69 yards a game.
Oh, yeah. I know
and
that.
Number 2, undefeated Indiana. Number 4, undefeated Ohio State.
Mm-hmm.
In between them, apparently playoff-bound Oklahoma.
Yeah.
James Madison, number 5. Well, they got to play their way in here. They got to win their last game.
Dolly's son, yeah.
But if they do, they're in. So that is why we keep hearing that over and over. And solving that problem is problem number 1 for A-Rod right now. How to block him, how to run the ball at least a little bit. Not going to go out there and run it for 200 yards on him, but...
What did the Devils run on him?
That's an excellent question.
You're a stat
Since
boy.
It's the only loss. Let me go check. It'll take a second. Go ahead and tell us something fascinating about these Sun
They threw
Devils.
the ball for over 300 yards that game.
A major plus.
Yeah. So I think that's the pathway.
Here we go.
Now, you can use short passes can be extensions of run games. We all know that.
Yep. But Jordan Tyson, 10 catches, 105 yards. Jaron Hamilton, 3 for 101. They didn't run the ball on him.
Right.
36 carries, 75 yards. Raleek Brown.
Who was a 1,000-yard rusher.
19 carries, 69 yards, 3.6 yards per carry.
And I believe one of them was like a 32-yarder.
22 was his long. 22.
So a third of his running came on one play.
So that means the other 18 carries yielded 47 yards.
Right.
Yeah. And so at 3.6 yards per carry, LJ, even if he's carrying an injury, 3.5. Where he was limited was he only got 10 carries in that game. And we've seen him routinely over 20 carries, both before and after that injury at Iowa State.
Bachmeier's going to have to play well, and he's disrespected. They came out with a Freshman of the Year finalist, and he's not on the friggin' list.
Not even a finalist?
He's not a finalist.
That's ridiculous.
No.
They got 5 other freshmen, and he's not on there.
And 5 other freshmen.
And they got, Joey McGuire, to his credit, he spoke out on this morning. He's like, you don't have Bear Bachmeier on this
5
list?
other freshmen would be that North Texas guy. What's his name?
Mastermaker?
Yeah, he only played 5 games last year.
Redshirt freshman.
Yeah.
So he had the 4 and then the bowl game? Yeah.
Exactly. Julian Sayin, freshman, played 4 games last year. Phenomenal.
So you mix and match.
I mean, and C.J. Carr, Notre Dame, redshirt last year. I mean, get out of my freaking face.
Get no points for the true freshmen, all these redshirt freshmen.
Yeah. And Mestermiker, it's 26 touchdowns and 4 picks. Great. He played 5 games last year. What is this? Mitchell and Simmons all over again? He redshirted last year. Well, this guy, he redshirted because they don't count. Why don't we just have as many years as you want, guys? Ready, break. You know, we've gone this whole way. Alex Smith made a handoff in like the 3rd or 7th game. Oh my gosh! What is McBride thinking?
There goes a year.
Of course, he doesn't even use the year.
No, he didn't. He left one on the table. He just needed to play 2, essentially, and he was out.
Yeah, it's all this crazy stuff.
Number 1 pick.
And Bachmeier here, you're 11-1, and you still can't even get on the freaking finalists, and you're a first-year freshman who didn't get there until May or June? What the freak? Why don't we just crap on BYU some more? Get over here.
DJ PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. DJ PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. PK, our entire show is podcast. You can get it wherever you get your podcasts. And if you're a Cougar fan, just turn in now and you would like to hear from Brian Santiago, I would suggest you go get that podcast. Just search DJ PK Brian Santiago. And
Well, he was on early, 7:30, so for some folks, they may not have been on the road or whatever it is that they do each morning. So I would think that would have a fair amount of interest because we tried to – you only have a limited time. I could ask them 7 or 8 other things. relative to his job and all that. So, but I thought the stuff we asked was important and pertinent and all that stuff. And you're excited about one thing, I know.
Which one thing would that be?
The NIL spiel.
Oh, yeah. Well, we were talking on the way out about these reports that they were getting 10 to 15 million in NIL money, and we were talking in the parking lot walking away after the press conference. You're like, but that's supposed to be illegal going forward. But it doesn't sound like everybody's going to sign it. Santiago didn't want to say that definitively because then you're talking for another school or whatever.
But I think I actually think that's a negative for BYU, not a positive.
I think he thinks that too, off his answer. He wants rules. He does not want the Wild West. He does not think it's sustainable. He made that abundantly clear. But if it's going to be the Wild Wild West, they're going to need that 10 to 15 million.
But that's not going to be enough.
It isn't. They're still going to get outspent.
Yeah.
But without it, they get dramatically outspent. And they think that this is a case of them thinking, okay, here's how it needs to go, but here's how it's probably going to go. Because Kalani, and he rarely does this, but he was getting quizzed, and I don't know when it was. It was spring football or if it was the start of camp in August, but there was a thing about, how many people do you have, and they were going to have to limit it to 105, and then the last thing they changed the rule and they grandfathered in people, and they had already made their cuts and gotten down to the number. Yeah. And he quietly at the end, because he didn't like to do a lot of complaining, said, well, I guess some people were, savvy to what was going on and others weren't, and he's just kind of grumbling like, well, we just got rid of 10 or 20 guys I would prefer to have here right now.
Yeah, most of them would come back if you asked them, though.
So, but I hear that little grumble. I think this is one where they're seeing not just how things are, quote unquote, supposed to go, but how things are actually going to play out and trying to prepare for it. I totally believe what you said. 10 to 15 will get you outspent. But with 10 to 15 million, you'll be outspending some other people who don't have that. So you better have it.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I don't think that BYU is going to go absolutely win at all costs. And I know, the other guy had the DUI. They brought him back after 2 games. And I know there's going to be – that's the thing about it. That's what I caution BYU. Don't worry about what your critics say because you're going to have critics every step of the way. You're never going to appease them. There's a faction, especially in this community, no matter what BYU does, no matter what the Mormons do, they're going to hate them. So just live with it and don't worry about it. Because you're never going to – you can give puppies to every newborn and every child in the world, well, you didn't do enough.
Well, Cincinnati's a good example. Yeah, you back at the truck and unload the food, and then the chants in the stadium, which are clearly over the line.
Right. So that's always going to be the case, and they're always going to be critics of you. So just let it roll. But I don't think that they're ever going to be an absolute. We are going to be in NIL and all that stuff, the top team in football. And Kalani has said, basically, you better not mention money until the third thing, minimum. You better talk to me about other stuff. If you mention money right off the bat, you're going. And I know that. There was a big-time kid, and I don't want to get any names because I don't want to give too much detail, but the family came in right off the bat, and
it went straight to money.
Yeah.
And it turns Kalani off.
Yeah.
Because he thinks, how is this going to work?
Right.
Every time these kids talk. And how's a kid going to carry himself?
Right.
And what's the work ethic going to be like? Do you think you've arrived?
And then the family hitting and get more money, so you give me the money.
Right. And now the focus isn't on football and what gets said in the weight room. And now you've got a divided locker room and guys not liking another guy. And he wants I was going to say 85 guys, but that's not the number anymore. But he wants them all, pulling in the same direction. And
they
there's
absolutely
inevitably
need to be competitive financially, and I think they have the opportunity to be that. And we'll see how this goes with these rules and regulations and what they do. I think to some point it'll come back to won't come back to normal. That's long gone, but it will settle, and it won't be as crazy and as wild. I think we'll look back. In 15 years, you'll look back, I'll be dead. But at that point, I'll say, man, that was really something. And I think you have to go through a significant amount of change before you can realize what's good and what isn't. And in a sense, I'm glad this has happened because then they can figure out what's in the best interest of everybody. Hopefully, maybe that's too naive of a deal. And these other schools are saying, screw you, man. We're going to do whatever it takes so we can make as much money as we possibly can. And the 50-year-olds on the couch can think their lives are way better because Ohio State won a football game. And that's which they do. And I'm sort of mocking it, but that's the reality of it. They do think that their lives are better if Julian Sayin makes a nice play. They think, and Fernando Mendoza makes a nice play, and coming up this Saturday, their lives will be better because Indiana's playing Ohio State and two very good quarterbacks and two undefeated teams and all that stuff, and they'll think that their lives are that much better and they make you more money. It's all a big game that everybody plays with the intent of making more money, and now it's trickled down to the field, which it should when you think about it, because everybody else is doing it. Why should the ones who are actually doing it not get some money? It's preposterous, and I've said this, that the coaches get performance bonuses that are bigger than a lot of folks' salaries based on the academic achievements of the kids. How about the kids actually get the money? If I go a 3.5, I get this much. If I get a 3.0, I get not as much. You know what I'm saying?
Do you want to be a player agent?
That's what they ought to do. And give the coach, give them $25,000 or something. But $100,000 because they got a 3.0?
I can see you
it's the stupidest thing I've ever heard of.
I can see you on the quote-unquote home visit pitching this.
Yeah.
And I can see the folks over there nodding. Well, yeah, okay.
Johnny's over here in study hall trying to do the best he can, balance all these things.
You were horribly miscast.
And
as a radio show host, you should be an agent out there making real money, PK.
Oh, I thought you were my supervisors who told me early on.
Look
2004, 2005.
Look at you. Get this man to the front row, and let's have him speak up.
So it should not only trickle down, but be better than a trickle down to the actual human beings who are, why we're in the stadium, why we're there in the first place. And away we go. And I think they'll have some form of regulation that'll be more of a common sense thing. And I still go back to what David Shaw told me. We will have geographical common sense. I just think we'll get to that. But it's been a long struggle because it's seedy, because we're putting athletics above academics.
Yeah.
And we can't do that. And
Really?
Kyle Whittingham, who has said for years, academics is the reason why you're here. And they make a big deal on graduation day in May, as they should. But it's clear, abundantly clear, that
as players play
athletics
3 and now 4 schools
increased its profile, that it isn't about academic. It isn't the reason why they're there. And Kyle has even suggested there might become a time where you don't even have to go to class. At that point, I'm out. I am out. All the way. 100% out. Unless the Devils are winning. I set that up.
I know you did. Just let him go. It was Cardale Jones, right? I'm not here to play school.
That was so awesome.
He said the truth.
I know he did.
And he didn't stutter. He didn't stammer. He didn't lower his voice. No, I'm not here to play school.
It wasn't a whisper.
No.
Yeah.
I'm not here to play school. All righty then.
I stood up and applauded that young man. Now, hopefully he plays the system, he being a universal, just like, and I can't remember which one it was. I think it was a Baylor kid who was telling us about the apartments that he was investing in real estate based on the NIL money that he was getting. And he was telling the younger guys, you need to do this too. That
the
consortium, I wanted to hug him.
Of using the money to buy commercial real estate. I specifically remember sitting here listening to that thinking, wow, that wasn't even on my radar.
Right.
That was an excellent, buy 10%. Don't buy 100%. You don't know how to run commercial real estate. You'll mess it up. You can't just walk up and start doing it. Right, yeah. You got 10%. You'll have a small investment, a small share of it. You watch people do it. You'll grow into it. It was a brilliant answer.
Oh, yeah, there's a coach in town, I can tell you, that I played golf with his financial guy. And he laid it out for me over the course of 4 hours.
Yeah.
Said, well, he's got his money in this and this and this and this. And wow. And I'm thinking, good for him. And that's setting it up. That's what you need. Use your money to
Better yourself. Don't have the money use you. And who was I just saw Shannon Sharp on a video talking about these guys. You don't need 10 houses. You don't need 15 cars. What are you doing? Do your parents, and then that's it. And maybe help out a little bit here and there. Michael Irvin talked about that. I've heard him say, man, you got so many people coming after you. And I say, well, what's your deal? Why can't you work? Why don't you have a job? And you're coming to me asking for money?
It was either Michael Irvin or Dion, or maybe it was the two of them together, said, the family, I got to listen, but I can't say yes every time. So the question has to become, you want me to do this for you. Now you tell me what you're going to do for you.
Yeah.
And that was his line. And Barkley has said it a million times. You better learn to say no.
Yeah.
Says the line of people will come to you with a handout. It starts with family. It goes to really good friends. It goes to casual friends. It goes to acquaintances. It goes to people who claim to went to school with you and didn't. At some point in that line, you better learn to say no.
You know your money's gone.
Yeah. The line just stretches
Matt
forever.
Harpring told me some stories. Got to know him a little bit when he was in town. Spent some time with him over food with his wife. And he would talk about the number of college teammates that hit him up. They wanted him to purchase stuff for them.
Yeah.
What?
Well, the line has been crossed.
Yeah. What? Yeah. You got to be careful about giving people something, because then it doesn't mean as much. And if you earn it, it means a whole lot more. If you worked and struggled, that's where the real satisfaction in life comes in. If you are a grinder and you go to work every day and you do what you're supposed to do, and maybe you're not going to be the entrepreneur who has the house on the back nine at Riverside, but you've done what you can do, and you're going to have a sense of satisfaction that's going to be off the charts. Plus, then the rest of your life, you don't have to be these silver spoon dudes who keep trying to tell you, oh no, like every politician in the world was poor. It's all BS. I was down. I had to grind, blah, 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 blah. No, shut up. I want to hear from the real ones who had to do it and built themselves up. They're the success stories. That's what I want to hear, because if they did it, you can do it. And maybe you can't do it to that level, but you can still do it.
I don't I know what Santiago was saying when he was on. I just don't have much belief it's going to happen.
What?
It says the Wild Wild West is not sustainable, which I get, and that's a quote that's often been uttered, but I do believe there are people who think, yeah, but it's more sustainable for us than it is for you. So we're going to go with it. And I just don't see what limits they're going to put on this. The other thing is, and you bring up politics, and this is true in politics, and I think we're seeing it's true here in college sports as well, is that the people who have a phenomenal amount of money don't want limits put on it. I mean, there's a Supreme Court case about how much money you can give to politicians in an election. They don't want any limits on it, and they ultimately won that case. And I think here in college football, the phenomenally wealthy boosters don't want any limits on what they can give.
But I think the game will take care of itself. There'll be so much pressure on people. We can't screw up the game. So there'll be some form of regulation, and maybe that's just so naive, as I say, that it won't come to that it will be a situation where there'll be parameters. I don't know that we're going to have an NCAA investigating, and you texted somebody an hour and a half after the text time was over. I think those days are gone, and so that can be a little bit more wilder, because I think it already is, and the idea, and I've literally seen big time college coaches stand in hotel lobbies over the summer to make sure they ran into Johnny the hot shot basketball
It's just a casual. There's nothing I can do about it. You bump into someone in society. We can't have a rule about that. Okay, you're right. You can't. I mean, you could walk into a sandwich shop and accidentally be there with somebody.
Yeah. But they stand in the lobby.
They figured out. They know
in Vegas, I've seen it.
They know what hallway to stand in at a gym. They know what lobby to stand in a hotel.
That seems so stupid.
Yeah.
And get rid of that nonsense.
But they did it, and they knew it to
We're talking guys who've won national championships. I've seen with my own eyes and I know why they're standing there, and I watch them stand there to see who they want to talk to.
It's like our guy Mitch Harper, KSL, our BYU insider. You stalk him, essentially. He went down to the Provo airport
checking
on
tail numbers
Sunday,
on airlines.
to
on
try to see
airplanes.
who was there. Was somebody coming in from Penn State? Was Kalani going to show up? That's what I was doing. And I was doing it out of amusement. He was doing it out of work, although I used to do that to try to get information. So they'll do away with those archaic rules. And maybe it won't. Maybe it'll just be even wild. It'll be the wilder West. I sort of wish that the forefathers would have come from the other side of the country, because I think that you never hear it's the wild East. You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean.
Why are we leaving out the East?
In the pro sports, they have the rules. Some of the rules are broken, but everybody understands there's a limit to how much you can break the rules. I think NBA free agent's a great example. I mean, I don't believe for a minute that all these conversations are starting when we get to whatever day.
12:01.
Yeah, 12:01 a.m. No way. Absolutely not. Were they happening in June? Of course they were. Were they happening in May or April? Absolutely
Well, it's
they
just
were.
like the transfer portal is already underway.
Yeah, exactly.
Guys are making it known.
But somehow they keep it. I mean, there are people who believe, and I don't think Danny Ainge will ever talk about this when he comes on with Hans and Scotty, but there are people who believe that somehow the Celtics had communicated with Gordon's agent, and Gordon knew the deal when he was at some tennis event 10 months or 11 months before he left. Hey, this is great. We come back. Yeah, I will if I'm here. Now maybe he was just contemplating what might happen in free
he had a
agency.
personal relationship with the coach.
There you go.
They were in that proverbial foxhole for a few years.
Butler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody cared. That's so what?
Right. So when Bronco comes on, I had someone listening to Bronco says, I love when you guys talk to Bronco. Like, it seems like every interview he just drops something awesome. Right. And I'm like, give me an example. And they looked at me and they go, it's Whisper Month. I love that. I always thought that stuff happened, and now I got a name for it. It's Whisper Month.
Well, he has the stature and the security to know that he can say that stuff.
Yeah.
He's probably got the financial situation to be where if he never worked again, he'd be okay.
Yeah.
So he can speak truth, and he can be blunt, which is what he's always done anyway. It's just...
There's this alleged phone number you can call.
Yeah.
Alleged hotline.
Phantom.
Phantom hotline. Phantom was the word.
Yeah, right.
That was another epic line.
And it was funny.
It was.
And people want to know the
truth. But it also illustrated a point.
Yeah.
Very clearly.
So I think I think there'll be some parameters, some guidelines, and I think our teams here are positioned well enough to be able to succeed at the level that they've been succeeding. Now, for some, that might not be enough. I won in the playoff. I want to win. I get all that. But you got to be realistic here. That's what I told my friends down in Arizona. Hey, let's slow the flow here. I mean, Dillingham has been the best thing that's happened to that program in decades. There's no question about it. But they caught a little magic last year. Don't anticipate that that's going to be what you're going to see more often than not, because I don't think you are. But can you have good times? Can you be way better than you were? Yes. And that's where I think BYU and Utah State can be.
I think the thing to remember with all these conference titles is these leagues have gotten so big now, 16, 18 teams. How often do you get to win a conference title? You know, all conference titles are not created equal. You're in an 8, 9, or 10-team league, which was the norm in the 1900s. Got to 12, I guess, in the SEC in the 1990s. But, you know, that whole era where Lavelle was coaching, how many conference titles did he win? Okay, well, you're beating 7, 8, or 9 teams. And now you're trying to beat 18 teams. Indiana or Ohio State goes 12-0, and they don't get a conference title. One of them.
The 1900s. Cheech, what century were you born in?
I was born in the year 2000, baby.
There it is.
So the 1900s might as well be the 1700s to you, huh?
Yeah.
But not to these big-time boosters shelling out money who want their conference title.
Have you ever heard of Frank Kush?
Who?
Don Coryell?
Is that the Godfather?
Yes. Yes, as a matter of fact. Don Coryell is the godfather of San Diego State football.
Well, at least he knows the Godfather, and that came out in 72.
There it is. Yes, but the classics never grow old. Classics never grow old. A whole bunch of movies from the 1900s you need to see.
I'm working on it. Trust me. I get plenty of wrecks around here.
Have you seen Fletch?
No.
Oh.
This is a Friday night grab a pizza kind of movie right there.
You got to watch Fletch. You'll watch it, you'll laugh, and they even have a bunch of Provo references.
Yeah.
Literally right there with BYU and the old Provo High School. It was right on that street.
What was the Travolta movie with the
Saturday Night Fever
with the nuclear weapon? The two bombs. He stole the bombs and he was holding hostage.
Look who's talking.
No.
He goes for these deep ones. I go for these little laugh or, funny Back to the Future type stuff. He goes to this. Now he's going to look it up.
I am. I mean, this is bugging me, right? Broken Arrow, 1996.
No.
So I saw it.
That's not a Friday night pizza movie.
So I thought it. Oh, it kind of
No.
is. Action adventure, my man.
No, you want a little laugh or a couple of smirks and chuckles.
Early in the movie, I'm not giving anything away here.
He's not going to see it. Don't worry about it.
The pilots are they're on the training run with the bombs. And the thing, the training run, either that or if it's not a drill, then we're gonna bomb the heck out of Utah. And they see it at a Utah theater, and the whole place just cracks up. The whole place is just busting up.
Well, anytime they make a local reference, that always happens for sure. Yeah. So no, go see. Oh no, go see it. But get Fletch. You'll enjoy it. It's hokey, but it's funny. Order a steak sandwich and a steak sandwich. You'll enjoy it.
I'll get back to you.
DJ PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Everything you missed in this show coming up next. Stay with us. DJ PK, time to get you up to speed on everything you missed in this show. Brought to you by Trajan Wealth. Call Trajan Wealth today, your local trusted financial fiduciary. Call them at 801-210-6800 or visit the website at TrajanWealth.com. We had Barry Tramel on earlier this morning. Available wherever you get your podcasts, along with Brian Santiago, BYU Athletic Director. And Barry came on in complete amazement that Kalani Sitake could end up at Penn State. Described as the perfect fit. Go find yourself someone at your school who fits as well as Kalani fits at BYU.
Yeah, that would be hard to do. As I said yesterday after we went down there on Tuesday night, that you talk about we want to hire the best person for the job. And we hear that phrase, man, woman, doesn't matter. Best person for the job. Well, they literally have that. He literally is the best person when you factor in all the qualifications and the necessary things that you have to have, which obviously is an active member of your faith and all that stuff. And he has all that. You literally don't have a better person for this job. I think that's very rare that you can say that. Even like Nick Saban at Alabama. Okay, great work. But is he really a Crimson Tider? I mean, he is, I guess, now. But
after years he was, but the day he walked in, it was, I guess that's why it was a great hire, because it was so contentious at the time. He told the Dolphins he wasn't leaving, and then he did. Here he's just failed. But at Alabama, they saw a guy who built great teams in Michigan State and won a national title at LSU and thought, man, with what we've got at Alabama, that guy he'll be awesome.
Even with Kyle, he wasn't a Ute. Now he is, but he was a Utah guy.
Dillingham at ASU.
And that
find one of your own.
Yeah. And they're rare. And
they are. Maybe Kansas State has gotten that down, though. They're hiring this new coach.
We'll see how it goes.
And he's been there as assistant coach, and he was there as the quarterback.
And Scott Frost didn't work at Nebraska.
Nope.
And so he was one of their own. So you have to see about that. Yeah. I think it would have been a blow to the game. That's just not right. That he had to go because he couldn't win at the level he wanted to win at BYU. That would have not sit well. And Tramel is an outsider guy to an extent. He's not the inside that we are. Like on Tuesday night, I looked at Kalani and I said, it would have sucked if you left.
Yeah.
And I know.
It's part of why he didn't leave.
Right. And we can say that, but I covered the guy as a player way back when, literally before our acting producer was born.
But it speaks
so
to
he belongs at BYU.
It speaks to the thing that everyone feels is happening and that a lot of people don't want to see happen, is that college football, which had more of a come one, come all feel at one point, is going to be restricted. So there's going to be, 30, 35, 40 super teams, and that's going to be the top level.
I think it's bigger than college football. I think we romanticize sports. Like nobody wanted to ever think, even contemplate Stockton in another uniform.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody would have contemplated Jerry Sloan coaching another team. He's our guy. I see him at Texas Roadhouse.
Mm-hmm.
He's our guy. He's mine. I never met him, but he's mine. And that permeates throughout sports. We want the romantic story. That's why baseball is what it is. It is the most romantic sport. Hey, Dad, you want to have a catch?
There's something about summertime and green grass.
Yes.
It just is. And at the same time, it's one of the things that MLB has to overcome is this guys playing to free agency. They're going to a handful of teams to get their money. And
I think all sports do
and
it.
all the MVPs are going to L.A. The salary cap reins them in to a certain degree in some places. Not always, because you're right. It's out there in all sports. But there is, baseball's a free-for-all.
Kobe is ours. He's always ours. And now, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Letter carrier did that 15 times.
Yeah.
And by the 7th, we blew him off.
We did. Jerry Sloan once. Just come. It's August. He'll be here when camp opens.
Yeah.
I'm not spending any energy worried about that. Give me something else.
He's the ultimate wolf crier, man. And he showed up and he balled out for 20 years.
Yeah.
And then when he left, it was like, okay, we all understand.
It was the right move.
Right.
It was absolutely
so
the right
everybody
move
was cool with it. And it was only one season anyway, and he was injury prone.
It's a full rebuild.
Right.
And,
but we romanticize it, and it would have been a blow to the game if Kalani Sitake had gone to Penn State. We would have understood it. At least I think you and I would have.
Yeah.
But it still would have been, that's just not right.
Yeah. That's what Barry said.
Right.
But I think we both heard that from tons of fans. I think we saw it on social media, one of the most negative places in the entire universe. We saw it from some Ute fans.
Yeah.
Who should be thrilled if anything rattles the beast that's going 22-3.
Well, yeah, then they could root for Kalani again.
There's that. There is that. But even they're like, that'll look weird.
Right. And fortunately, I guess, if you look at it that way, it didn't happen, and BYU came up with clearly enough to appease/satisfy him, and away we go. So we always have that. He's an Aggie, he's a whomever, and especially the pros can, like, what is LeBron? He's
LeBron. He's a universe, a galaxy unto himself.
Right. But Dwayne Wade bounced around, but yet he's a Miami Heat guy.
He is, 100%.
Yeah. We sort of get that at the end, but then we forget about it. Nobody remembers Washington playing Jordan or Jordan playing for Washington.
No, nobody cares.
No. He's a.
What is Kevin Durant? I would say after LeBron, he's another guy. He's his own corporation.
Yeah. He's like a PGA Tour player.
Yeah.
He just goes and plays the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's himself. But he can't hang on something. You can try, and maybe there's the rare guy who can have two, because Barkley likes to spin the Philly-Phoenix thing.
Houston gets ignored, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you don't. Like, he was just, I just saw a picture of him sitting on the front row at the Phoenix game.
So Barkley's...
Because it's winter now.
Barkley's A-Rod then. Because I was flipping around in baseball, I had some documentary on him.
I don't think he is A-Rod.
And A-Rod, I think Yankees, I think Mariners. And then they're going to Texas, and I'm like, why didn't I even think about Texas? I didn't even think about Texas. He's got this third team, but it doesn't count. You got two chapters that are super distinctive. You think he's a Yankee, though?
I think he's A-Rod.
Oh, you got him as a corporation, not as a Yankee.
He's not. He's phony. He's not real.
Yeah, I know.
Nobody can look that good. Nobody can pose a picture of you kissing yourself in a mirror. Not a good idea. Your skin looks like it's like the first day you were born.
you're always immaculate at all times. Who is that?
He did a documentary, and I don't know why this did. There's some documentary where he was playing golf and he was talking, and he was immaculate at all times.
Right.
He was like wearing he wouldn't wear shorts. He looked like a PGA Tour guy.
Yeah, because that's what they do.
Long pants. Yeah. But I think it was in Florida. But he made a nice putt. I don't know, 12-footer or something.
Right.
He went over to pick it up, and just the way he pulled the crease on his pants, the way he pulled it up before he bent over and pulled it out of the hole, I was kind of like, that is like straight out of GQ, straight out of a theater, out of a movie.
Yeah, he's not real.
Yeah. I find of all the time he's spent in the public eye, the most I've enjoyed him is now as a baseball commentator. I feel like I'm getting the most.
He loves the game.
He does.
Give me people, man, woman, I don't care who it is, who love the game, and when breathe the game.
And when they put him in a booth, I honestly thought, oh, not that guy. But now I actually hear him on a broadcast, and like
he probably
he
loves
says,
it even more because he misses it.
Yeah,
he can't play anymore at that level.
Yeah, I know. Father time.
And he was a phenom in the manner of Tiger Woods from a young age. Right, in the big leagues at 19 and all that. Mm-hmm. But be like Ken Griffey. He's gained like 25 pounds. Okay, great.
You're real. Get in line.
Yeah.
30's coming. And then 35.
The only guy who's ever been able to pull off the perfect stuff, I guess maybe two guys.
Derek Jeter.
And Brady.
Yeah.
You can have flaws. Now, we don't want serious flaws.
Yeah.
But we're okay with Ken Griffey. Okay, well, you're not in the shape you were. Well, who is? You're not working out every day. Your metabolism takes its toll. That's okay. And you're living a good life. Do that type of stuff. That's okay. You see your heroes and they're a little paunchier. That makes them more real. A-Rod doesn't look real to me. And maybe that's to his credit. Maybe I should be giving him credit that he clearly maintains a physical appearance that is top of the line. But we do romanticize sports, and it would have been a blow for the romanticizing to have Kalani Sitake coaching at Penn State.
Leave his alma mater and go all the way across.
We could handle him as the D coordinator at Utah because he hadn't been offered the head coaching job yet, and he hadn't been offered the D coordinator job at BYU when Utah offered it to him. And he's a loyal dude. He talks about that, how Lavelle Edwards, he mentioned Lavelle Edwards and Kyle Whittingham both have stayed, and both have had numerous opportunities to leave, just like he has. Fans love that.
Utah Mammoth, the losing streak's over. 7-0 over the Anaheim Ducks. Now can they keep it going? They got to go to Vancouver and Calgary.
That was literally a Mammoth performance.
It was a Mammoth performance. Well, the Jazz get a Mammoth performance tonight. They're in Brooklyn playing the Nets. Tip-off at 5:30 here on the Zone. Pregame at 4:30.
I would think they would win. They're a better team, unless they're ice cold.
Well, they're one road win all year.
They're a better team than Brooklyn.
They are. I agree, but they still might mess it up. I don't think they should.
Yeah, but have they played a team
as
crappy as Brooklyn? Yeah. And that had played in Chicago the night before.
That, I think, is the thing right there. The Jazz get into town before Brooklyn. That's an advantage.
Oh, yeah, they were there well hours.
Before. Yeah, absolutely.
They were asleep, hopefully, when Brooklyn got into town.
That was, I think, win number 5 for the Nets. And BYU blew out Cal Baptist as expected, 91-60. Cal Baptist will now hang around and play the Utes at the Huntsman Center Saturday.
And I would suspect that the Utes would win that one.
Aggies are on the air. Scotty G on the call today. 5 o'clock pregame at 4:30. They are in Tampa, Florida playing USF. We are going to take a break. When we come back, your feedback next. Stay with us. DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Question. Oh, and this actually comes to us from John Rothstein. I mean, you know of him. I don't know if you ever ran across him covering college basketball.
Yeah.
He's on
I don't know him, but I know of him. Yeah, I've seen him.
CBS Sports and College Basketball Insider and all that.
Right.
And he posts, today's games to watch, Utah State at South Florida.
Is there a light schedule today?
Apparently, yes.
Is that on television?
Does Utah State stay undefeated? I will check for you on that. I'm not sure. Does Utah State stay undefeated? I asked Scotty G, I said, why go play these two non-conference games on the other side of the country unless he called everybody in the country and these are the two best games he gets and he's struggling for, quad 1, quad 2 road games.
Well, they are.
And he's like 100% that's why he's doing this.
Yeah.
Is there are so many people who want no part of coming to Logan and really don't even want any part of playing in a neutral setting. The Power 5 team, or the Power 4, I don't know. The Big East is Power 5.
Oh,
whatever.
yeah, no question.
In the Power Leagues, there is so much money to be made by playing another power school on a neutral court. I don't think they want to mess with the Atlantic 10, the American, the Mountain West.
And a quality team, too.
Quality team. And if you're at the top of one of those leagues, you're pretty good. Maybe the whole league isn't great, but you've seen the teams at the top of those leagues do well in the NCAA tournament.
Well, everything is slanted towards the bigger brands and seeding. Utah State will never get a really good seed worthy of their talent, I don't think.
No.
To advance, if they can get to the second weekend in the tournament, they're going to have to play out of their minds.
It's streaming on ESPN Plus. This game and the Charlotte game, both streaming. 7-0, trying to get to 8-0 and 9-0 here. And I don't know, I haven't gone through all the power rankings, who their best opponent is. Is it VCU maybe? Off the top of my head.
Yeah, but
I know.
Get to league play.
That is what it comes down to. But interesting, they got the shout out there, and plenty of
he's
of Aggie fans.
He's a big time
reacting.
insider, and so he knows about Utah State.
Right,
he
exactly.
knows about the arena, everything that goes into it. That's not a surprise to him.
Yeah. Jeff Goodman tweeting out the list of 20 unbeaten teams left in men's college hoops, and Utah State's on the list. So, and some of the perennials: Duke, Arizona, Purdue, Michigan, who's supposed to be absolutely loaded this year. I haven't watched them, but been reading that they're fantastic. So,